Between the pipes, once again, Dirk Graham will go with Jocelyn Thibault. Stéphane Fisset, or Fisset, opens up for the LA Kings.
The Game Room is brought to you by the new Dodge. Test drive the future. The new Dodge.
We're not getting very much from some guys right now, and we're trying to spark them a little bit and get them going. I thought White's line played very well last night, and Jansen's line played very well. The other two lines didn't play very well. So, and they're some of our main guys, and they have to get going. So we're trying to give them a spark, and we need to generate and get four lines going.
Well, Duke, good luck. This is the sixth game. Let's do it.
All right, thanks, pal.
Now let's go back to the studios.
Hockey time coming up on Fox Sports. Chicago Hawks Kings catch you after 1.
Promising start to a 7-game road trip, the Blackhawks have seen their fortunes turn. Their latest setback resulted in a 3-0 Duck victory. Tonight, Tony Amati goes head-to-head with the Kings' Luc Robitaille. These two snipers are deadlocked at 27 goals apiece. The Hawks play their last game at the storied Great Western Forum. It's the Blackhawks and the Kings next.
Busy Chicago Blackhawks continue on their road trip tonight as they take on a team they're struggling against in the playoff race in the West, the Los Angeles Kings. Hello again, everybody. Pat Foley and Billy Gardner from the Great Western Forum. Hawks taking 3 out of the first 4 points on this road trip, but have gone south since then. Need a much better effort tonight than they got last night. Clearly, Dirk Graham, after the game, extremely unhappy with the effort he got in a very important contest.
Well, the desperation factor is not there, and he's just not getting it when he needed it, and the offense has been lacking also, and if the team's going to struggle putting pucks in the net, especially on the road, they're not going to get a lot of points. So he was not happy, and he's really switched up all the lines trying to generate a little bit more offense.
And there'll be a couple of changes in the Blackhawk lineup as well that will amplify when the game starts, but as we look at this road trip, 20 goals against in 5 games, you just can't win when you have the lack of offense that the Hawks have had.
No, they've got 13 goals in this trip, Pat. In the first 2 games, they had 10. So believe it or not, they had 6 in Calgary. They had 4 in Edmonton. It looked like it was a good start. They've only got 13 since, 20 against, 1-3-1, and their power play, Pat, has really been something that they've had to work on. They're not working on it very much. 2 for 17 on the road, and that is where I think it has really hurt them.
Well, the Los Angeles Kings, also a team that's really in a tailspin of late. They have 1 win and 6 losses in their last 7 games. But if there was ever a guy made to play in a certain city, Luc Robitaille belongs here in Los Angeles. He's never done as well anywhere as he has when he's been here.
Oh, absolutely correct. In the last 5 years, this is his best year. Lucky Luke, his 500th goal, and he is the 6th left winger in the National Hockey League to score at least 500 goals, and he just loves it here. He loves the lifestyle. He's relaxed here. There's no real pressure on him. The people love him, and he loves to play.
Well, this obviously is a big game for the Blackhawks. It's a 4-pointer as they go up against a team they're fighting with in the West. Vancouver's getting hammered against the Rangers. They're going to lose. San Jose has a tough game in Phoenix. And Nashville is playing in Calgary, so 2 points there that somebody won't get. So between these 4 points and those other 3 games, I'm looking at this as a 10-pointer.
I'm glad he can add. He went to the wrong school, not the same school I went to, but it's definitely a big game. There's 2 left on the road trip. If they get those 2 and win them, they're a 500 club on the road, and that's not too bad.
Hawks and the Kings will drop the puck in a moment. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
Western Forum, and tonight on the Lexus Inside Look, usually I don't talk about individuals, but tonight we're going to talk about one individual. Back at the start of the season, there was a big trade with the Montreal Canadiens. Jeff Hackett and Eric Weinrich, and they went for Dave Manson and Jocelyn Thibault. You think a throw-in would be Brad Brown? Well, maybe he was in one sense, but he was a first-round draft choice for the Montreal Canadiens, and Brad Brown has been very consistent. First NHL goal as a Chicago Blackhawk, a beauty from Mike Maniluk, and he was very excited at that time, but he does a lot of other things, small intangibles. A great fight on this road trip with Brant Myers in San Jose, and Brad Brown loves to stick up for his teammates. He doesn't mind dropping the gloves, and he is very strong, great upper body strength. And the one thing I admire about him is his timing on hits, big hits. Jeff Nielsen last night got run over, and this happens all the time. And it's not that he runs out of position. He does this with great timing and at the right time. Brad Brown has been an excellent choice for the Blackhawks, a very consistent player. It's good to see a young kid play the way he has. And that's it for the Lexus Inside Look. We'll be back with the drop of the puck after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dieter Rule of the Great Western Tournament. Out in front, Jimmy. The officials for tonight's game, utilizing the two-referee system.
The Blackhawks against the Los Angeles Kings, and here at home, LA's been anything but dominant. In fact, they've got just 19 points on home ice. Only two teams have fewer than that in their own rink.
Starting goalies tonight, Jocelyn Thibault again looking for more goal support. He's played pretty well, 9-15-3, goals against average of 2.63. And his save percentage still above 91. That's pretty good for a team that has not won a lot of games. And at the other end, Stéphane Fiset, his first chance against the Blackhawks this year. He's 6-8-1 on the year, but out 3 different times with groin injuries. Goals against average of 2.5 and a save percentage right around 92.
And the officials tonight, the two-referee system in effect. Bernie DeGrace and Don Van Messenhoven are the dual referees. Shane Heyer and Darren Gibbs are the linesmen. And here we go now as the draw is controlled by the Hawks. In his own end, Jamie Allison goes across to Chelios. His rink-wide pass on the money for Jamnoff, who steps over the line. Dupont and the save. I could say rebound bouncing puck. Amani just jumped over his stick. Boy, Amani nearly had a great rebound opportunity, but not a bad bounce as it jumped back into the Chicago zone. Chelios brings it to the far side. Dave Newsom back in the lineup, able to clear it to center. Now Amani on the right wing boards. Put it in over the line. Emerson top of the circle. Shoots one right on and a shoulder save. Made by Fiset.
Couple of good shots, Pat, right off the bat. The Hawks skating very well, and a couple of nifty passes from side to side right on the tape.
Back into the LA zone it goes on the near side. The Kings able to come away. Johnson rolled it to center. Stumple bounced one ahead. Aldo Rosa on the far side couldn't pick it up. Back to the goal is Brown for Chicago. And Brown rolled it up the boards, not out. Robitaille holding it in. Luke into the near corner. Robitaille centered one. Good coverage that time by the Hawks. And the pass picked up beautifully by Muir. Then Morrow chipped it into the LA zone. Kilger cuts to the net. Centered. A diving block of the pass made by O'Donnell. Picked up by Morrow. A shot. And that was blocked in front of the net. Rebound cleared back to center ice. Oh, two Hawks get caught. Here's O'Donnell in over the line. Centered one. And the pass way out of the reach of his teammate. Then O'Donnell got it back near side. His centering attempt deflected toward the goal. And a good save made by Thibault. Hawks then clear it back the other way. And the Kings trying to catch him in a change. They might. Here's Robitaille over the line. And a fine recovery by Probert to get to the dangerous Luc Robitaille.
Couple of great plays, Pat, defensively. That 2-on-1 situation was nullified because Chad Kilger skated back and nullified it by catching his man.
Here's a 3-on-2 the other way for LA. In over the line, a good play by Allison to knock his man off the puck and prevent a pass or shot when the Kings looked like they might have a break. As it's clear, then back to center ice, and Siplikov rolled it over the line. Here's Audette weaving to the near circle. Audette tried to center. That hit a leg. Deflects to the line. Galley a long drive. And a save by Thibault as he's being bowled over. Thibault, a great job to hold his ground. And now whistle on the play. A hand pass against the Kings.
A good chance for Gary Galley. Presented right before the game. Played his 1000th game last game versus Philadelphia. And he has a tremendous shot from the point. An offensive defenseman. Puck rolling and lets it rip, and right in front of the net. Great traffic. Jamie Allison with Ray Ferraro and Jocelyn Thibault spinning around like a top. Comes up with a huge save. A good stop for Jocelyn Thibodeau at the other end early. Alex Jamnoff with his new line mates Nelson Emerson and Tony Amati. A great pass by Chelios, springing Jamnoff, and he lets one rip. A big rebound to the front, and Amani just misses the rebound. It kept on bouncing and bouncing. He wasn't able to control it.
As it's knocked down with a high stick in the Los Angeles zone. You're talking about Gary Galley, and he's been hot of late. 3 goals in his last 7 games. And we talked, Billy, about the changes, a couple of them in the Blackhawk lineup, and one is Reed Simpson getting a chance to play again.
Well, Reed Simpson has not played for quite some time. He plays with a lot of emotion. He's a great team player and a guy I think Dirk Graham needs on the ice maybe to stir it up a little bit. And I don't mean drop the gloves, just to get a little energy. And that has been lacking. So Reed Simpson in the lineup. Alex Jamnoff, as I mentioned, centering Tony Amani and Nelson Emerson. And the second line now, Doug Gilmer with Ethan Morrow and Chad Kilger.
Surprise, I guess you could say in some respects, with Simpson being in. And now he's going to have a scrap. Simpson has the gloves off against big Matt Johnson. Simpson battling hard in front of the Hawk goal as he and Johnson throw haymakers. Big left by Johnson, and Simpson tackled him to the ice. Matt Johnson, 6'5", almost 240, and Reed Simpson in his first appearance in quite some time took him on.
He certainly picked a heavyweight. Matt Johnson is a strong individual. But Reed Simpson coming into the lineup and showing that emotion that I just talked about, trying to stir the lineup up a little bit, and the Blackhawks have come out of the gate pretty well. I like the way they have skated. They did play last night, so it's good to see them jumping from the get-go. And right in front of Jocelyn Thibodeau with a play in the neutral zone. Simpson and Johnson wrapped up. Great job by Reed Simpson nullifying the right hand of Johnson, and Johnson has to go to the left, misses down low, and Simpson, with his strength, tries to get the jersey over Johnson's head and throws him to the ice. And also, Pat, you're talking about those surprises. Eric Daze is not playing tonight. He is a healthy scratch along with Christian Laflamme. So a little bit of a different lineup for the Blackhawks, trying to get things moving, and Dirk Graham was not very happy last game with the effort, and last night held a couple of meetings when we got to the hotel and had a meeting today at their pregame meal, trying to get things moving.
It may have happened before since he started in the NHL, but I don't recall it. I believe this is the first time that Eric Daze has been scratched when healthy. But you can hardly blame the coach for that decision. He had one scoring chance that I can remember last night, and that done very little on the script. Here come the Hawks now, a drive and a save by Pisse on Emerson. Rebound control by Blake. Blake clearing it out to center ice. Good break up on the rush, that time by Manson. He steps back in over the line, shoots one, that's deflected wide. Rebound cleared back into the center ice area.
I already noticed, Pat, Tony Amani, after dropping the puck to Nelson Emerson, a good low shot, but Amani went straight to the net, drove to the net, and that's what they need.
Here's the center pass, Kilger a shot, and he shot it wide. Rebound, Emerson, a long drive. Oh, and it was fought off. Then a shot at the side of the goal. Taken by Kilger. He put it then to the line. Allison a drive. And a save by Pisse. Oh, the puck came loose, but the referee lost sight of it with the body of the goaltender shielding him. What a start for the Blackhawks. They're much hungrier tonight than they were last night. Still scoreless early. Now from the draw, the Hawks get a long flip shot from the far point by Manson, and that was stopped by Storer. The Hawks have been credited, I believe, with 5 shots on goal. It almost seems like more than that.
Yeah, they have had some great shots, and there was one previous to the last break. Great play by Tony Amani. And Pisse came up with a big save, but going to the net was a problem last night, Pat. It looks like they're trying to do that a lot more. It was not there, and the only way to score on some of these goaltenders now is get traffic in front.
Robitaille lost it at the Hawk line. Now Chelios up the right side for Kilger. He steams in there. Kilger stick handling, then shoot. He just missed the near post. Rebound along the boards to the Kings. Rosa. Pavel Rosa cleared it over the Hawk line. Nice move by Stumble. He shoots. Shot it up high. Oh, Stumble, a dandy move at the Hawk line. Had a chance but missed the net. Now Bodger, long shot is blocked. Hawks look to counter. Here's Kilger racing in there. Tees it up, then tried to center Gilmore. One-hand shot. And he shot it wide as he's being taken down to the ice. And then the Kings Bodger cleared it to the near side. It winds up all the way back in the Hawk zone.
One-on-one situation against Dave Manson. He was victimized, and that happened a couple of times in San Jose, and that's probably the reason he did not dress last night. So I know his emotion has got to be high. He probably has to settle down a little bit. On the other end, Pat, good play on the 2-on-1, but a block at the blue line.
Here's Golic with a long shot that's blocked, and the Kings now with a 2-on-1. Here they come in over the line, in the drive by Audette. He shot it wide. Donald Audette didn't seem to be very interested in passing that one to Siplikov, and he fired, but missed the net. Now back at center ice. The puck lays loose for Probert, who sends it in there. And the Hawks peel off for a change. Steve Duchesne for Siplikov on left wing. His long pass bounced over the Hawk line. Centering attempt and a drive and a save by Thibault on Ferraro, who had a point-blank chance. And a centering pass stolen by Jocelyn Thibault, who covers it up.
Ray Ferraro had knee surgery not long ago. They expected him to be out 4 to 6 weeks. He's playing with Donald Audette, and those two are smallish in size, but pretty good puck handlers and good skaters. A nice feed from Audette to the backhand of Ray Ferraro. He gets the shot on net, and Thibault makes the save. And previous to that, there was a 2-on for the Hawks, and a great block at the blue line by Chad Kilger. No flamingo there. He had both legs down. Gilmore got the puck, moved it to Kilger, and Kilger wanted to shoot, then elected to pass. And what a play by Doug Gilmore, being hauled down from behind by O'Donnell, and he still gets a stick on it, the shaft of his stick, and knocks it with the heel just past the post. He had the save beaten.
Now here's a long shot and a save by Thibault. Rebound to the near side of Monty. Bearing to center Emerson. He had it knocked off his stick. And it bounced loose to the King. Johnson on the line. Craig Johnson's long shot is blocked. Oh, hack that to the far side. Jamnoff coming away with it. Alec Jamnoff. Dropped it back into his own end. Now Muir. Ryan Muir jammed along the board. Jamnoff with it for Emerson on left wing over the line. Stops at the far point and fires and a save. Made by Bisset. Rebound, centering pass to Emerson. A drive. Bisset fought that one off. Boy, the Hawks just jumping here in the first period. So far, haven't found the answer to light the lamp yet, though. Now Nordstrom in his own end. Here's it along the far side, Russ Cordnall. Got it to center and Blake. Moves to the Hawk line. Ran out of time as the Kings were changing. He didn't have much help. And now Olchek for Chicago, trying to get it out. Boucher held it in, fires, and a save by Thibault. Rebound LaPerriere's pass stolen by White. Todd White taken down, Jokinen stealing. For LaPerriere, a shot, and a shoulder save by Thibault, who then dives headlong to cover it up. Racehorse hockey here in L.A.
Terrific end in action. What pace. This is a lot different than we've seen the last couple of games. The Blackhawks have had a couple of excellent opportunities. Nelson Emerson has at least 4 shots. What a play by Jokinen, stripping the stick right out of Todd White's hands, and then corralling the puck and taking a look and waiting, and a little flip backhand pass and a one-time shot, and it is high, and Thibault had to juggle it and pounced on the puck. Great play by him. And Amani and Emerson have had a couple of nifty plays. Amani with a delicate little pass, and Emerson with a quick wrist shot. Another save by Bisset, but I said earlier, I think Emerson's had at least 4 shots, and a lot of guys going straight to the net when he lines it up.
Face off to the left to Thibault. No score with 7 minutes gone by, and a penalty coming up right off the draw. The arms of both, it looked like they were in synchronized swimming. Both referees' arms went up
nice
at
speedos.
The same time. I like their hair gel, too. Hawks to the power play, no score. This is Blackhawk hockey.
You're watching Fox Sports Chicago.
Hawks on the first power play chance of the game. Chicago in this road trip just 2 out of 17 on the power play. LA's penalty killing in the middle of the pack in the NHL, but they've scored 10 shorthanded goals, the Kings, second best in the league. Here's Chelios dumping it in. Morrow to the near corner. Getting help from Amani. They wrestle along the boards, and Gilmore came up with it. Rings it to the far point. Jamnoff got it in deep. Gilmore back of the goal to the near dot. Amani. He shoots one. And a save. Rebound. Hack loose. Now a shot. And a save by Bisset. I didn't even see that rebound opportunity, but he did, flashing out the left pad.
Exactly that, and that's just reaction, I believe, to say getting the pad across, and the Blackhawks, again, getting that puck to the net, and something they haven't done on their power play. They really have to get this moving, and it looks pretty good so far.
Into the LA zone. Now they battle in the far corner. It's kicked loose to Gilmore. Put it to the near point, and Chelios got it back in behind the goal. Gilmore there. Gilmore takes a look. Kilger was at the front of the net, then peeled off. Now a long shot by Chelios, and a pad save by Bisset. Rebound to the Kings. Courtnall turns and cleared it to center ice. There look Perrier. Gave it back to Courtnall. He tries to play keep away, made a neat move, but then lost. And here's White cutting in for Kilger. He scored! Russ Courtnall tried to play keep away and lost it. White to Kilger, and the Hawks make him pay. It's 1-0.
A terrific 2-on-1 for the Blackhawks, but the old veteran Russ Courtnall has great wheels still, is used mainly in a defensive role for the Los Angeles Kings. A nice maneuver at center ice, holding onto the puck, and then tries to get real fancy, putting the puck through Kilger's legs, and loses it though, a little bit too far ahead, jumping up Todd White, and a nifty pass and a one-timer by Kilger. Just too quick for Bisset, and a beautiful goal on the power play.
Eureka! A power play goal. Chad Kilger lighting the lamp for the third time in his last 26 games of the Blackhawks. Benefit with a 1-0 lead. 9th goal of the year for young Kilger.
Chad Kilger, Pat, getting a chance to play with Doug Gilmore, and him and Ethan Mora played pretty well as of late, and with that speed on the outside, and Gilmore, if he can hold the puck and handle it and let the wingers fly, it should be a pretty good line. So Dirk Graham obviously likes the way they have played the last couple of games and giving them a good chance.
Too many men on the ice penalty against Los Angeles as the Hawks scored, and now Chicago right back to the power play. What an opportunity here. So the Kings were short-handed, obviously had too many men out there, and the Hawks still scored. Now with another power play opportunity. Just dumped into the Kings zone, a long clip shot from here, deflected, and Bisset covers it up.
What a golden opportunity this can be if the Blackhawks were to get a goal here early in this period. They would lead 2-0, and that would be a start that they haven't had for quite some time. Did jump ahead of Edmonton early on in the trip, but since then have really had to fight back. So this power play could be crucial for the Blackhawks. The LA Kings not playing very well. They're back at their heels. The Hawks are skating. They look organized. Good forecheck, and I really thought the last power play, Pat, they did result in getting a goal, but every time there was a loose puck, 3 Hawks were on it. And that was something we haven't seen easily. You got to battle for the puck to win it and get control.
Kings able to get this draw and clear it. Amani, Jamnoff, and Gilmore are in front now, with Allison and Chelios the point men. Here's Chelios to center, dumping it in. Goes around to the far side, at the line, held in by Allison. Tipped it in behind the goal, Gilmore. Gilmore put it to the deep slot. Allison there, threw it to Amani, who had to try a turnaround shot. That was blocked. Amani did quite a job to catch that pass from Allison that was way behind him.
The Hawks moving the puck quickly on the perimeter. Doug Gilmore coming out of a gang in the corner and moving right behind the net and getting it back to the point. And it was a great play by Amani. Allison put the puck a little bit to his right, and him being a left-handed shot going to the net. A little spinorama on his backhand, peeled it in, and got the shot off, but a block by the Los Angeles Kings. Tony Amani still very frustrated. Had a couple of great games, got back on track with the goals, but you watch him play, and he's not very happy with the way he's played.
Now the draw. Chelios nearly had it stripped away. Did well to prevent what would have been a breakaway from Perreault. Well, the Hawks now need to regroup back into their own end. A minute to go on the Chicago power play. 1-0 in favor of the Hawks. Now a steal by the Kings. A drive. Tebow with the glove. A great save on a short-handed bid by Joseph Stumble after the Hawks had a fire drill in their own end.
Lackadaisical. 4 guys back, and no one really taking control. And a misguided pass and intercepted by the Kings. Jamie Allison has a lot of options, but nobody really wants it. And good puck pursuit by the Los Angeles Kings. Jammed up and had it go off his pants, and then the pass to the middle. And Thibault comes up with a marvelous glove save, coming quickly out to the front of the net, top of the crease, challenging the shot. And what a glove save that was. How about that for a turnaround if they score there?
That a very big save indeed. And here's the draw in the Chicago zone. Ends up at center ice where Blake clears it back in. Now Muir. Sending Probert to center ice. He dumps it in, but it hit the linesman and results in an offside play against Chicago.
Bob Probert, what a strong game he had in Anaheim, and everybody can remember the board work. He had a couple of shifts where he just controlled the play with his strength, and I remember him peeling off a couple of Anaheim Mighty Duck defensemen. Jason Marshall was one, just because I think they were tired of pushing him around and not getting anywhere. Bob Probert really played a strong game, consistent game. That line really is probably the only line that stayed together consistently in the last week or so with Todd White and his recall.
More rush now on the Hawk power play. We're halfway through the first. 1-0 Chicago. Hansen was short of center when he dumped it in. Boy. Can't make a better effort than that. That's icing.
Especially when it's the last rush, as you mentioned, the Hawks on the power play having an opportunity to get over center ice and maybe have one quick shot or a chance on the LA Kings, and that did not happen. Now the faceoff coming all the way down. The LA Kings will be able to get a man back on in 9 seconds and play 5-on-5 hockey. But Dave Manson really had a great start with the Blackhawks the first 10 games. I think Pat, if I recall, had about 9 points in 9 games. Looked like the offensive guy that they wanted. Played very tough with Chris Chelios, and since then he's been switched around with a lot of different mates. And eventually playing really substandard hockey, and he knew it. Talked to him, wasn't very happy, and I thought with him sitting out was a real good wake-up, and I think he's going to be ready for the next few games.
Here's the draw. Duchesne, a long blast sailing wide, and it bounces all the way back to center ice. Picked up there by the Hawks. Morrow in over the line on the right side. Morrow fought off a hit, then finally had it knocked away. The King penalty meanwhile over, and both teams are at full strength. Ray Ferraro trying to buy some time at center. Had his pass deflected into Chicago ice. Now on the near side. Battle along the boards. Steve Simpson able to gain possession but couldn't get it out. Then Muir does. Clearing to center ice, and Kilger couldn't quite find the handle. Luke Robitaille. Had a problem with the puck at center. Then Smolik stole it and cleared it in there. Now Gary Galley puts it off the glass to center ice. Taken by the King. In over the line. Audette spins in the deep slot. Ran out of time. Oh, Smolik going to get a penalty for a cross-check as he flattened the smallish Donald Audette. LA gets their first power play chance of the game. It's 1-0 Chicago. It's the Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
8.5 minutes remaining. The LA Kings will have a power play. Donald Audette with a puck in complete control, but a great job back-checking. No lanes for him, and Smolik comes up with a cross-check and simply knocks him to the ice, resulting in the penalty.
As the draw is picked up by Manson now, who finds some room to center and shoots it in there. Bouncing puck right in front of Amani. Chased it down, and a good save needed from Fisset as Amani is on fire here in the early portion of this game.
Well, I mentioned that he wasn't happy with his play, and he has been frustrated, and I think he's worked very hard at times. And a good play by Dave Manson, probably seeing Amani in full flight, and he beats the LA Kings to the puck. He's on his backhand, not a great angle. Steve Duchesne was about 2 steps behind Amani, and Amani corrals it with the backhand and shoots it all at once. Not easy to do. Fisset was lucky to make the save. He wasn't sure where it was, so good play by the Blackhawks.
Here's the draw. Quick turnaround shot by Amani, just goes wide. This is the 50th game of the year for Los Angeles. They've scored only 26 power play goals. Only 2 teams in the league have fewer power play goals than that. Now here's Pavel Rosa in the Hawk zone, putting it out to the line, long centering pass, stolen away by Chelios. Hey, clears it the length.
Another area, the Blackhawks, if they can succeed in killing penalties, it'll help them tremendously. They're a -3 on the road trip, while the power play goal tonight, so they're -2 with their special teams.
Now here's Duchesne in the deep slot. Far point to Blake. Put it back to Duchesne. He's bothered by Emerson. Now Duchesne. To Blake at the far point. A long flip shot. And a save by Tebow. A stick came up and clipped him right in the headgear, but Tebow dove right through it. He was hungry for that puck like a dog after a pork chop.
A big save by Jocelyn Tebow. A smart little play by Rob Blake. Duchesne and Blake together only about 10 feet apart, so they can move it quickly back and forth. Audette drives to the net. A little wrist shot by Blake, and I don't know if he did redirect it or deflect it, but Tebow was right there and did get clipped as Audette was punished by Brad Brown. You can't stand in front of the goaltender, Brad Brown says. But a nifty little play spotting Audette was Rob Blake, and that is what the Kings like to do. They like to hold it up front, get guys eventually to go to the net, let Blake and Duchesne handle it, get it to the net, try to get rebounds.
Now the draw. Back of the goal to Audette. Rolled it over to the far side, Ferraro. Moving it along the board. Now Galley, touch pass to Bodger, along centering pass, broken up by Brown. In behind the goal it goes. Taken by the Kings, Audette. He works his way to the near point. Audette now with a long top shot that doesn't get through. Came back to Audette on the near side. Donald Audette. Turn it around the board. Now here's the drive. Oh, Ferraro had an open side and tipped it wide. What a pass by Robitaille, but Ferraro couldn't finish it. Now Ferraro in the far corner. Lost the handle. And Muir bounced it out to center ice as the Hawk penalty expired. Both teams are back at full strength. Here's Audette moving it too. Fine recovery by Brown with a shot block, and he deflects it out of play.
Now, one thing with these forwards, there's a lot of small LA Kings, but they're pretty nifty, and the best way to defend them is to get on them quickly. And a great play by Brad Brown stepping up and deflecting the puck. But what a pass by Luc Robitaille right through the crease, and the Blackhawks not aware that Ray Ferraro was there on the doorstep with an empty net, and the puck jumped on his stick, hitting the top of the blade and redirecting right past the net. But Ferraro started that whole play off in the corner, the near corner, put it around to Robitaille, and the Blackhawks followed the puck, and Ferraro comes right to the front in a nifty little pass, a quick, hard pass by Robitaille. Ferraro thought he had a goal. Ray Ferraro, I mentioned, has been just a great spark plug in the last 3 games. He has 5 points. In the last 10 games, previous to his injury too, Pat, he was very hot, and he's a plus 13 in the last 10 games. That's pretty good for a team in the last 10 games. He's 2-7-1. People who had him written off, they almost let him go.
Yeah, here's the draw. Rob Blake, the long shot, put off by Tebow. Rebound to Chelios. Leading Kilger, and now to Manson at center. He fires along with it, sails up off the glass. 6 minutes to go in the first. 1-0 in favor of the Hawks. As Matthias Nordstrom sets up back of the King net. Now Perreault hit it to center. Manson broke up the rush nicely at the Chicago line. Now trying to dump it in, and that one sails up over the glass and into the seats.
Matthias Nordstrom, Pat, you talked to Rob Blake before the game, and he was highly praised his defense partner for his physical play. Matthias Nordstrom was selected after a couple of injuries to play in the All-Star game, and there was a couple of spots on the world team that had to be filled because of injuries, and it was nice to see some defensive players get rewarded. And Matthias Nordstrom only with 4 points, but strong defensively, highly praised, really highly coveted by a lot of hockey people around the league. Had his chance to play in the All-Star game, and Rob Blake says he just does tremendous things on the ice, makes his game a lot easier.
Yeah, he really couldn't say enough about him, Blake. He was, of course, was a Norris Trophy winner last year. Played with Nordstrom all year. Just loves playing with him. Here's LaPerriere over the Hawk line, kind of centered. LaRue, a fine back-checking job. Stole that, rolled it ahead to White. He steams in there, cut the shoot, got a save by Passay. And he covers it up.
And he was hog-tied by Galley after the shot. And a good play by Todd White. Little misdirection for the LA Kings at the blue line. The puck squirted off the glass, and Todd White circled back into the neutral zone and collected the puck. Didn't have a great chance from the angle he was on, but the back checking has been very good by the Blackhawks. J.Y. LaRue coming back and glancing one off the glass. Perfect direction. Todd White off to the races. Galley cuts him off. Not a good angle, but it had to be a difficult save to stay down, and White tried to go to the far side, and a pretty good save for Passe, and then after it, right to the ice, White goes with Galley. Easy. Took his feet right from beneath.
It's up into the Kings' zone. Amani hustling, chased it down center, just out of the reach of Jamna. And the Kings move the other way. Here comes Stumple in over the line. Center, what a shot! Shot just wide. Rebound came off the end boards to Thibault, and he covers it up. There's Pablo Rosa, near miss for the home team. 5 minutes left down the first. 1-0 Hawks. This is Blackhawk Hotline. First period to this point for the Hawks, who have a 1-0 lead. A long shot now, stopped by Thibault. Up in LA, face-off win. Rebound cleared to center. Back over the line they come. Into the near corner goes Siplikov. He's checked along the board, then dug out by Stumple. Joseph Stumple. Landed loose. Bouncing around in the deep slot. Galley held it in to Duchesne. He shoots one, he scores! Tipped in, I believe. A long flip shot from Duchesne appeared to be redirected on its way to the net. And the Kings have tied it at 1.
I'm not sure if Pavel Rosa deflects this puck, but Steve Duchesne simply takes a wrist shot towards the net, trying to see if there's traffic. The play down low, Siplikov is taken off the puck by Manson. There's a little fight, Chelios and Rosa, and the Hawks did gain possession for a second. Duchesne threw a screen, wristed through, and no, it is definitely a Blackhawk coming back in, trying to help out defensively, right off the blade, and changing direction. Thibault trying to go to the right to see the puck, and went by him to the left.
That shot might actually have been going wide.
Yeah.
And now it deflects to the Kings zone where Passe covers it up. So Steve Duchesne is going to get credit for the goal. It goes in off a Blackhawk stick. And the Kings have tied the game.
Steve Duchesne recently became the all-time point leader for defensemen for the Los Angeles Kings, and previous to the All-Star break, sat out a couple of games. It was a healthy scratch. Larry Robinson not liking the way he was playing, not getting the points. He said if he's not getting the points, he's got to play strong in his own zone and play a little bit more physical. They acquired him as a free agent in the offseason strictly for his points, to run the power play and be a good man with the puck. And that doesn't happen for the LA Kings. That's a big goal for them.
Now here come the Kings. Robitaille over the line. Drop pass offside is the call. And then a penalty is going to be called here as well. So a cross-checking infraction here.
It's going to go to Brian Muir. He had the weapon in his hand right in two. He snapped the graphite shaft with the cross-check bat. Pretty tough to get away when you got a stick in your hand and it's in two pieces. Brian Muir heading towards the penalty box. The rush coming through the neutral zone. The defense in good position, 2-on-2. Brian Muir comes across to Robitaille and gives him the lumber. And that has to hurt a little bit because that lumber is a little bit stiffer than it used to be.
2 minutes for the cross-checking. Time of the penalty, 16:03. The Blackhawks penalty, number 37, on Europe. 2 minutes cross-checking.
Here's the draw now. And the Kings dump it in. Into the near corner it goes. And back to line up over the stick of Duchesne. Here's Jamnoff hustling after it. Jamnoff, oh, he had the stick yanked out of his hands. Good work by Duchesne, who would have been beaten on the play. But it's tough to make a play when you don't have the lumber. And now Ferraro for LA. Rolled it over the Hawk line. Bouncing for quick shot. What a save by Thibault. Rebound came loose to Manson. And Dave Manson failed to get it out. Now on the far side, Robitaille's knocked down. Puck jumped loose. Chelios on it. And he takes his time. Then cleared it ahead. Emerson has a step. Cuts in there shooting. And a save by Passe. What a play by Chelios. He just lulled everybody to sleep. And Emerson came flying off the bench. Chelios put it in. Here comes the Kings stumble. His shot is blocked. To Emerson, who's checked. Failed to clear it. Now White with a chance. Plenty of time, plenty of room. White takes a look and hammers it back the other way.
Well, what an opportunity, and a great play, as you mentioned, by Chelios.
Here's Emerson stealing one now. Knocked it away from Blake, but the Kings able to retrieve this one. And Siplikov put it over the line, then got it back. Siplikov diving, poke check by White, preventing a shot. Now at the far point, Galley holding it into the deep slot. His long flip shot is tipped right in front. Big scramble and a diving Tebow able to cover it up. What a thrilling first period we've had with plenty of action at both ends.
Well, shorthanded, they did have a great chance, Nelson Emerson, and just recently, Sipokov almost had an empty net, but couldn't gather the puck on the deflection by Stumpo. It went right to his stick, but it was bouncing, and he just couldn't handle it. And there was a couple of defensive plays, too, that were pretty good. Todd White coming out of nowhere to strip the puck away from Sipokov, but it was kept in at the point, and the Kings keep control. The Hawks get into their box to defend, and a nice play back to Gary Galley. He just wrists it through. How many times have we seen LA wrist the puck through? Stumple deflects it. Sipokov to the side, the left side of Tebow. Just couldn't get the handle. Maybe had an empty net.
1-1 now late in the first. Half a minute to go in the King power play as the Hawks are able to clear it to center ice. Sipokov battles back to the line, was checked there, taken away by Jansen. Couldn't get it out. Bodger held it in for Sipokov, who lost the handle. Chelios gathers it in. He couldn't clear it. Wow, 0 for 2. Now into the near corner it goes. They wrestle forward along the boards. Dug out of there by the Kings. Now the Hawk penalty over centering pass and a shot. And from Galley deflected wide. Both teams with full strength now. As it deflects toward the goal, and Tebow will dive to cover this one up.
Yeah, a little breather. The Blackhawks a little bit tired. The end of the penalty. Brian Muir coming out of the box, and Tebow just gathering the puck and holding on to get the fresh troops out. Good penalty kill. But LA really easily just trying to move the puck to the middle of the ice. And earlier during the penalty kill, what a play by Chelios, spotting Emerson, as you mentioned, Pat, off the bench and full tilt. And he lets go a wrist shot. And Fassé actually looks behind him to see where it is. So a good quick shot by Emerson. A nice play by Chelios, moving the puck up and almost a goal.
Now the Kings, Nordstrom in his own end. Gave it to Blake. Blake gave it to Nordstrom. He's bumped hard along the boards. Big hit delivered by Morrow. Ethan Morrow working hard. Jammed it loose, but Gilger couldn't pick it up. And the Kings come out. Blake or Perreault over the line. His pass deflecting. Back into LA ice.
Good play by Brian Muir and Brad Brown. That was almost a 4-on-2, and they smothered it right at the blue line.
70 seconds left now in the first period. As Yannick Perreault this one into the Chicago zone. He was well short of center. This one will be icing. Well, the Blackhawks have really been jumping here in the opening 20 minutes, and they need to try to turn things around at the tail end of this road trip. They also need to get something done against Los Angeles. They have not beaten the Kings in 6 straight games. LA's beaten the Hawks 6 straight. 3 of those have been shutouts. The Hawks have scored just 8 goals against Larry Robinson's team in those 6 games, while giving up 24. So they haven't been getting beaten by these guys. They've been getting crushed.
Certainly have, and there was a big game here that the Blackhawks thought they should have won or had a chance to win, and they were shut out, didn't really have a sniff. So that first period goal, a big goal.
Here's a long run for Manson, and the shot is deflected to the near side. Lines up back at center ice as we go to the final minute of the first. Steve Duchesne will flip this one out of play. The Hawks, Billy, scoring first tonight, did themselves a favor. 7 of the last 9 games that LA has won, they have scored a goal in the first 5 minutes of the game. And if the Hawks can find a way to score here again before the end of the first, LA this year has never won a game when they've been losing after the first period. They're 0-13.
That's unbelievable. That really is. What a stat that is. That shows you the depth that they've had all year long in putting pucks in the net and having to come from behind. It's not easy in the National Hockey League nowadays. That's very difficult, and that is a poor record.
A lot of it has to do with so many of the injuries that they had, but now a lot of those guys are back. That is really something to have 40 minutes remaining in a game and never be able to win one if you're losing after one.
Doesn't get any better after 2.
Yeah, but hardly anybody wins if you're losing after 40 minutes. Deep in the LA zone, Bodger with just 10 seconds left in the period. Here's it to Ray Ferraro. And the Kings will just run out the remaining seconds, and we'll head to the first intermission now. Well, the Chicago Blackhawks open the scoring with a power play goal by Chad Kilger, his 9th of the year, assisted by Todd White at 8:34. The Kings got that back when Steve Duchesne scored on a shot that deflected in off a Blackhawk stick. Duchesne from Galley and Rosa at 15:34. Fire wagon hockey here in L.A. 28 shots on goal in the first, 15 for the Hawks and 13 for the Kings. Well, Dirk Graham, I think, saw more effort in the first 20 minutes than he saw in 60 minutes last night.
It was definitely exciting. That is good hockey, end-to-end hockey. Plenty of chances offensively, some great defensive plays, good goaltending, but the effort is there. It just was lacking for the last 2 to 3 games, and they were really getting out of sync as a team. I thought they were all over the track, and he's had a few meetings, and he wanted more effort, and tonight, for some reason, it is there, and it's exciting to watch.
20 minutes complete in the Great Western Forum. It's been a thrilling first. The Blackhawks and the Kings are tied at 1. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
Chad Kilger scores for Chicago after 20 from the Great Western Forum. We are locked at 1. Tonight's Discover Card Payback Playback. We go back to January of 1996 and 2 goals by rookie Eric Daze versus the LA Kings.
Here's Nichols over the line, near side, moves in, centered it. A shot and a save by Defoe on Daze. Now Daze steals but cuts in for Craven. Oh, the sweeping on, they score! The first save beautifully made by Defoe, but Daze got to the rebound. Behind the King net. Into the final minute of the period as Daze centered a shot. Oh, and Weinrich shot it just wide. Rebound to the near side. Weinrich put it across to Suter. Here he comes. He scores! Daze tipped it in. Eric Daze in front of the net, redirecting a hard blast from Gary Suter. And with half a minute left in the second, the Hawks move to a 3-1 lead.
All right, now back to reality. Eric Daze, a healthy scratch tonight by Dirk Graham. I buy it. Daze has not been making anything in the way of a contribution.
No, we talked about Eric Daze coming back after the All-Star break and after he had his groin injury. It was a big game for him going into Edmonton to perform well and to put some pressure on Dirk Graham and to put him onto the top 2 lines. He hasn't performed well, and I think Dirk Graham has given him his opportunity on this road trip. Finally, Dirk Graham said enough, because you don't know what Eric Daze is going to bring to the table every night. The top 2 lines before the All-Star break were playing extremely well. They were gelling together. They were working really hard as a unit. All of a sudden, Eric Daze comes back into the picture. He's inconsistent. He hasn't scored since he's been back. Maybe he's been in a situation where, you know what, he's put Dirk Graham on the spot and said, listen, you know, Eric, you can't play tonight. You're going to learn. Next time you get an opportunity, get back in and play well.
An aggressive first period of hockey in the book. We are locked at 1. Blackhawks, the LA Kings. Round 6 of the 7-game Western swing. Stay with us. Number 6, you got to admit one thing. She's a heck of a lot too than Reggie Fleming. Don't forget our Ferrara Pan Little Hawk contest. Send in your entries of your youngster dressed in Blackhawk gear. Entries must be postmarked by tomorrow, February 5. That is the deadline. Winners will be announced February 15th right here in the game room. And those Little Hawks will be honored at the United Center February 21st before the Blackhawks Bruins game. All right, my friend, let's go back to period number 1. Tremendous effort put forth by the Blackhawks. They appear to be somewhat rejuvenated. We'll open up with Chicago on the power play.
That was a great period. What you're going to see here is what we talked about. The Hawks weren't using the extra player to their advantage on the power play. You're going to see all 3 Hawks get involved in the play. They're all over the place. They're outworking the penalty killers, and that's what you have to do. In any situation on the ice, I mean, you've got to use that extra man advantage to your benefit, and they weren't doing that before. Now they're pressuring the LA Kings all over the ice. They create a turnover. Chad Kilger makes a great one-time shot here. Stéphane Fiset has no opportunity to save it.
Now we're tied up at 1.
Well, not a whole lot Thibault can do with a Hawks player. I'm not sure who it is. It's maybe Muir coming across or Jamie Allison that cuts across the front of the net, deflects it past Thibault. It's 1-1, but it was a good period by the Blackhawks.
Second period action coming up right here on Fox Sports. Chicago Kings 1, Hawks 1. Stay with us. The Valley of the Sun will wrap up the 7-game tour. It's Saturday right here on Fox Sports Chicago. Game room coverage beginning at 1:30. Blackhawks teed up with Jeremy Roenick, the old ranch hand, and the Phoenix Coyotes. All right, my friend, Dirk Graham must have said something got to these guys.
Well, I think he made the point with Daze. He made the point with Dave Manson the other night. They just can't sit back and hope that the guys are going to play well. If you're not going to play well, you're not going to perform, you're not going to dress. That's the bottom line for Dirk Graham. He's got to put guys in the lineup who are going to work hard for 60 minutes, and that's all they want is an honest effort from all the players.
It's like my point very quickly. Why should Dirk Graham take the fall?
Well, he shouldn't. I mean, there's
Exactly.
no excuse. If he's gonna go down, Dirk Graham's going to go down fighting, not in an easy situation, but play the players who want to play.
Western Conference numbers. Here we go, very quickly. Look.
In form after one period, the score is 1-1. And there's only 1 day left to enter the Farrar Pan Candy Little Hawks contest. Just take a photo of your child, 10 and under, in Blackhawks gear and a hockey pose. Include their name, age, address, and phone number, and send it to Fox Sports Chicago. Entries must be postmarked by February 5th, which is tomorrow, which is Friday. Chad Kilger scored his 9th goal tonight, and I'll tell you, what a luxury for a youngster that gets an opportunity once in a while to play with a great centerman like Doug Gilmour. And you have to take advantage of that. And Chad Kilger and Ethan Morrow with their great speed on the outside. I'm sure I've talked to Doug Gilmour, and I'm sure the veteran has said, listen, try to come late, give me the puck in the middle, let me get the line, and you guys with your bursting speed on the outside will get opportunities. And Chad Kilger and Ethan played a strong first period.
So did most of the Hawks. That was a very spirited effort, and it's a 1-1 game as we get started with the second. As the draw is taken by Emerson. Nelson Emerson dumping it in. You said it, Billy. How many shots? 5 shots Emerson had in the first. Here's a long drive from Chelios that's gloved rather easily by Fisset.
Strong period for Chris Chelios also that set up Nelson Emerson on the slight breakaway shorthanded. In that situation, he logged almost 11 minutes, and he's played a strong game tonight, taking his time, looks a little bit more patient. I'm sure frustrated like many of the Blackhawks, and boy, were they in ugly moods the last couple of days, and by rights they should be. And when Chris Chelios plays well, usually the Hawks do also. 5 shots, but you mentioned Nelson Emerson, not easily to do in this day and age, but I'll tell you, as soon as he sees a little empty ice, he does a little turn back and lets it go.
Face off to the left of Fisset. And here's the draw taken by Blake. Carrying it around the boards. Manson trying to hold it in, didn't quite. And the offside call is made by long, tall Shane Heyer from across the ice.
The linesman last night.
As he reminded me, I didn't even know. He must have done a good job. Didn't even notice him.
Where you been?
Here's the draw now. Bouncing around at center ice. Rosa trying to get to it, could not. Manson gathers it into Morrow. He chipped it to the neutral area. Morrow battles to the LA line. That's all the farther he could get. Then a Gilmour steal to Morrow. Centered to Kilger with a drive. That one's blocked and deflects to the corner, and a whistle on the play. The King player that made that shot block is hurt. Nordstrom went in front of the Kilger one-timer, and he's got the bees stinging.
He definitely should do. Chad Kilger waiting for that puck. Had his stick ready to go, and he let it rip. But what a play by Ethan Morrow along the boards. Probably started really at his own blue line. Went all the way up, fighting, battling, and eventually not letting anything get by him. Pushed the puck ahead and came out with it. A good battle won by Ethan Morrow, and eventually got the puck over to Chad Kilger in a nice little play. Good one-timer and a good chance, but a nice block by Nordstrom.
Face off to the left of Fisset. Now everybody ready, and here's the draw, controlled by the Kings. Ole Jokinen, fine young rookie, carrying it out to center ice, and Lafayette dumps it in, or Perry Harrison say dumped it in. Jokinen in the far corner, chipped it loose. Galley tapped it toward the front of the goal, but Hawks have that area covered, and Brown Moved it out to center where LaRue shoots it in there. Now deflecting right through the goal crease as a hustling Todd White nearly forced a turnover. Probert just missed redirecting that. And now White at center. Will send it into the LA zone. Galley back. Brings it around the boards. It deflects to the deep slot. And the Kings are able to pick it up. Duchesne stripped away by White. Galley was following up the play. And Gary Galley's pass. Shot back into the Kings zone, but the Hawks ruled to be offside.
Good play by Todd White defensively. A nice little poke check. Steve Duchesne coming out of his zone, trying to gather speed, put the head down to make sure the puck was ahead of him, and White jumped in, took it off, and stripped it. Good play defensively, though, to get back. And a little bit earlier on the same shift, though, Todd White moved in on Gary Galley, beat him to the puck, and got the puck up in the air right through the crease. It was high, and it was landing at the feet of Bob Probert. He eventually got a bit of a shot off. And earlier, previous to that shift, Keith DeMoro, relentless, getting a little help with the linesman, though, who worked very hard, got the stick down. Gilmore back to Morrow, and the one-timer by Kilger. Good, strong work on the boards, though.
Now the Kings have a chance. Oh, offside, though, was Russ Courtnall on the right wing boards.
That was a little bit of a delayed call. Linesman having to peer all the way across the ice to make that call. Courtnall was just over. He was being hounded, by, I believe, by Olchek. Good little play, drawing the offside, but a split second there, I thought they were going to let it go, and that would have been an opportunity for the LA Kings, but a nice call by the linesman.
1-1 the score here early in period 2. As the draw is cleared back into the LA zone. John O'Donnell lost the handle. Quick shot and a save by Bisset on the wrister from Emerson. And now Craig Johnson, he coughed it up. Amani hauled down, a penalty coming up against Los Angeles. And now the Kings having some difficulty in their own end after some terrific forechecking by the Blackhawks.
The majority of the Kings defensemen are pretty good, gifted offensively, and they love to jump with the play. And a lot of times, if you jump on them, they're not able to, and you will get situations where you'll be able to strip it if you're hounding them, and Tony Amani did so. A job well done, and he was hooked down from behind by Craig Johnson. Craig Johnson's a winger. He was actually coming back down the boards to help out. Tried to turn up with the puck off the board, so Amani jumping on him quickly.
Now the draw to Chelios. Back of the goal to Amani. Centered one, quick shot, Bisset. Good save and a one-timer from Gilmore. Now in front to Shamrock a drive. That doesn't get through. Bouncing to the far corner. Stumple. Lost it to Gilmore along the board. Now back of the goal. It comes free, and the Kings, Blake looks to clear. Got a funny hop off the partition, and it winds up back in the Blackhawk end. Shamrock able to clear it to center for Chelios. He hammers it in there. Morrow on the near side with him. Brings it around the board. Amani lost it a stumble. He rolled it to the neutral zone. Now Shamrock mounts it ahead, but right to the Kings Nordstrom. He clears it. A minute remaining on the Chicago power play. Here comes Kilger on the left wing boards to center. He's got the line to White. Todd White sent one quick shot. Good save, good save from post to post on a one-timer from Emerson. And now the Kings break back. LaPerriere in on Manson. Manson able to play the body nicely. And that took care of LaPerriere's rush. LaPerriere doing well to waste some time, then jammed it loose. Courtnall's pass picked off, and Kilger comes out to Emerson on right wing over the line, cuts in, sent it in. Here's White, takes a look, shoots, and that hits somebody in front of the net. Deflecting to Stumple for LA. Joseph Stumple back over the Hawk line, trying to cut to the middle. Says Brian Muir. And back the other way is Emerson. Feathers one ahead, Probert a shot, and a save by Bisset, who's being peppered here in the early moments of the second.
Solid 3 shots for the Blackhawks. The second unit on the power play getting a couple of nice ones. Bob Probert with the last shot, but good speed shown by the Blackhawks on the power play on the second unit. moving up the ice and getting their chances. And Bob Probert, the last time, getting the nice little feed and through the middle, a quick wrist shot into the belly of Fiset, making the easy save. But Todd White, Chad Kilger, and Nelson Emerson combined for a couple of good rushes with their excellent speed. A nice play by Emerson. Kilger drives to the net, taking the Kings defense with him. A quick shot. I don't know where that puck went, but it looked like it went 20 feet in the air. Fiset got maybe a piece of that, or Kilger deflected it. A nice 3-on-2 rush by the Blackhawks with the middle guy going to the net, creating a little bit of hole for White.
Just a couple seconds left on the King penalty. The Hawks need to be aware of that. Here's the draw. Smolik at the near point with it. Goes across. Here's a long cut. And a save by Fiset on Manson, or I should say on Allison. Rebound back to the net. Centering pass. Hit the side of the goal. Now Duchesne picked it off. And the King penalty is over. Both teams are at full strength. Greg Johnson out to center ice. Stopped at the Hawk line. Luke Robitaille cleared it ahead. That pass lines up in the near corner. And it's shot over to the far board. Gately got run over, but held it into Ferraro. Put it in behind Robitaille. Walks out in front. Shoot. And it good save by Thibault, who stayed right at the near post with a stand-up stop. The Hawks looked to clear, but failed to get it out. Into the near corner. Audette came out with it to the dot. Fired! He scored! Donald Audette left all alone as he walked out of the corner right to the face-off dot and blew it up over the right shoulder at Thibault. 2-1 LA.
Donald Audette has been an inspiration offensively since acquired December 20th from the Buffalo Sabres. He scored his first shift against the Blackhawks. Steve Duchesne does a good job of just keeping the play alive, keeping the puck down low. And I think maybe Thibault is screened a little bit by Mark Jansen's in front of the net when the shot does come from a maybe poor angle right on the dot at the face-off circle. And it's a high riser over top of Thibault. Jansen's in front with Ray Ferraro, and maybe not a screen, but a little bit of havoc. Allison comes out to block it, and what a perfect shot by Donald Audette.
Well, the Kings grab the lead for the first time in the game. As LePerriere now dumps one in. Ryan Muir bodied off behind the net, lost a centering pass. His shot just wide by the Kings. O'Donnell. Now Perreault along the board. Rolled it ahead. They hacked for it in the Hawk zone. Finally it dribbled loose to Kilger. Put it back of his own goal to Brown. Hawks able to clear it back to the LA line.
It's critical now here, Pat, for the Blackhawks to stay calm. They've had a good solid first period, and now that they're behind, just don't play in a shell the way they have done maybe in the past. Stay on the same route that they have been on. They played good hockey here for almost a period and a half.
Shot back into the King zone. This will be an icing call against Chicago early in the second period. Los Angeles 2, Chicago 1. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey. Here's the draw now. Into the center ice area it goes, taken by LA's Rob Blake. David Estumpo looking for Rosa on right wing. It was just out of his reach. Back to the goal, Manson. Wrestling into the far corner. And the Hawks able to send it back the other way. Here's Nordstrom. Cleared it along the right side. Rosa bounced it to Stumple, who caught that puck nicely. And down he goes, and Manson's going to get a penalty. Manson tried to make a sweep check, missed the puck, took only the feet from under the puck carrier, and LA to the power play.
And this could be a crucial power play for the LA Kings and a big kill for the Blackhawks. Manson was maybe beaten a little bit and missing the player, Joseph Stumple, who is an excellent puck handler. He's got great moves, ducked back against Manson, and the stick of Manson followed up and took the wheels right out from underneath him. The LA Kings have only one shot on net through 7 minutes of play, and that is a goal. The Blackhawks had 6 shots starting the second period, so the Kings now on their power play have a chance to open the game up a little bit.
Luc Robitaille leading LA with 7 power play goals this year. As we mentioned, they've only got 25 for the season. Now a long shot sails just wide. Rebound in behind the goal. Dug loose to Robitaille. Put it to the near point. Blake swings it across. Duchesne chipped it back around the board. Now Robitaille on the near side with it. Put it to the deep slot. Duchesne mishandled it. But the Kings then still hold it in. Blake near side to Robitaille. Back to Blake, a one-timer. And a save by Thibault. Rebound chopped loose to the line. Duchesne with it. Near point to Blake. He tried to center. Chelios picked it off, and the Hawks cleared.
Well, it's very evident that the LA Kings start their power play from the point. Everyone else is on the perimeter, and when the defense get it, they try to converge on the net to get the rebounds. Both shooters are very smart on the point.
Now back into the Hawk zone. Here's Blake in the deep slot. Near corner to Robitaille. Bringing it around the board. Down to the deep slot, Blake. He's centered one. Robitaille touch pass to Blake. Oh, he shot it just wide. What a passing play that was. From Blake to Robitaille, back to Blake. Now Robitaille on the near side. Swings it across on deck. Cutting and got a man down. Takes a look center. A diving block of the pass. What a play by Zhamnov. And the Hawks clear.
Now that is a beauty for Zhamnov. Going down, they looked like the LA Kings were moving it so nicely that the play was going to develop on it. Had plenty of time, but Zhamnov came back to take away the option. They tried to get it over to Luc Robitaille, a great goal scorer.
Kings dump it in. Smolik gets to it, dumps it out. Oh, it just jumped away from Olchecker. He might have been gone short-handed. Now here's a steal by Chelios. But he ran into some traffic at the King line. And the Kings Bodger starts away with it. Has plenty of room to center, dumping it in. Oh, in behind the goal. Ziplikov put it to the far point. Galley tees it up, shoots one. Thibault the save, and he dives to cover the rebound just as the Hawk penalty expires. So both teams now are at full strength with 11 minutes to go in the second. 2-1 LA. This is Hawk Hockey. With Billy Gardner, Pat Foley in the Great Western Forum. 2-1 Los Angeles. The lead goal scored by Donald Audette, who's been quite a find for LA. 7 goals in 19 games since he's joined the Kings. It's dumped into the King zone. Kilger working the end boards. Came away with it. Kilger tried to shoot, and he scores! Kilger from behind the net. He tried to center one, and I believe it hit the goaltender himself, Bissay, and jumped up into the goal. Chad Kilger with the second of the game. It's 2-2.
This line has worked very, very hard, and they have worked hard on the boards, and they've come out with pucks. I think the Blackhawks have had trouble getting the puck off the boards and getting the puck itself to the net. This time Kilger down low comes out and throws it to the front. Gilmore was with him up against the boards behind the net, and just a quick little flip towards the net. Bissay with his stick down, maybe slides off the post, it hits the stick and jumps up. I don't know if it went through his legs or not, but straight up into the back of the net. So Chad Kilger getting the benefit of working hard behind the net along the boards, and a simple play to the front and a big goal.
So Kilger with an assist from Gilmore, and Morrow also with a helper, and it's 2-2. Here's Morrow walking and shoots. He grazed the outside of the post. What a rush by Morrow as he danced right through and checked, and his shot just barely missed the target. Now the Kings move in. Here's Duchesne on the near side. He lost the handle, then got it back. Centered, a shot, and a save by Thibault. As the Kings, Jokinen had difficulty gathering a bouncing puck, and it cost him the kind of scoring chance he would have liked.
Olli Jokinen has not scored a goal, or pardon me, he's got 1 goal in his last 24 games, and he has an opportunity sitting right on the crease. And Thibault trying to go from left to right. Duchesne kept the play alive, getting the puck back. A nice pass across, and it just hopped over Jokinen's stick and Perreault's stick. Perreault really initially had the first attempt, but Jokinen comes into the picture right beside Perreault and misses the puck also, and Thibault well down and sprawling. He's got the big splits going. The puck goes underneath him. Doug Gilmore with it. Keeps it underneath the goaltender. have a great start to the season. 4 goals, 4 assists in the month of November, and was player of the month for a rookie. But really struggled after that. Larry Robinson said, you know, he thought that the schedule from Europe to here was a big onus on the shoulders of Jokinen. They tried to rest him for a few games, try to get him to adapt to the play and put him more in a defensive role.
Ole had an onus.
That's a name probably over there.
I think that's his uncle. Here's Uncle Onus.
Working out of bonus.
Now the puck bouncing around at center ice. And the Hawks come away with it. It's cleared into the King zone, but right to Bissay. He goes down and covers it up.
I think it was good to see the Blackhawks come right back after having the goal against them and not quitting and having a good couple of shifts after that fact. So a strong goal for the Hawks to stay alive. And I mentioned earlier it was imperative that they stay focused on the situation the way they had played. This line has really been effective. Ethan Morrow picking the puck up at center ice and one-on-one. What a play on Gary Galley, putting the puck underneath his stick and getting Galley to move to the left, and a nice little hop by Morrow, getting up a shot, just missing the net. Great plays.
He did that on a guy that's been around a long time. Gary Galley, just the 134th player in history to reach the 1,000 game plateau. Well, here's the draw taken by the Kings. Tiplickoff moves and shoots, and the 5-hole was shown and then taken away by Thibault.
Now that's quite an achievement, Pat, this year, the 1,000 game mark. And you just mentioned about Gary Galley. The 4 Kings this year are going to reach the 1,000 game mark. Doug Bodger did it earlier this season, and Russ Cordno will do it in 3 games, and Ray Ferraro in 12 games. They will all reach the great plateau of 1,000 games. I don't know many teams you can say that have reached that feat, having 4 guys in 1 year. That's amazing.
Well, it used to be so uncommon, as we mentioned, only 133 other guys have done it. There'll be more this year, and in the years to come, it's going to become much less an achievement as guys are just in better shape, take better care of themselves for 12 months, and it's so much more of a business now. Guys realizing that if they pay attention to their bodies and stay around this game.
You talking to me?
Oh, it's just, I said guys. I didn't say guards. They pay attention themselves. They set themselves up for life if they can hang around the league for 10 or 12 years.
Oh, beauty.
Yeah, but we had fun, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Here's the Kings now with Stumple getting in over the Hawk line. He's checked by Muir to the corner. And Brian Muir won the puck. Clearing it around to the near side. Manson couldn't pick it up. Now Muir once more. He cleared it, not out. Manson behind the goal with is hit hard along the inboards by Matt Johnson. Puck came loose, and the Hawks had the front of the net covered this time, and it's cleared back to center ice. And a hand pass rule here against Los Angeles, and a big collision along the boards as Shamnoff.
A couple of band-aids here, Pat. Johnson and Johnson.
Conversation, but that's all for now. It's 2-2 with 8 minutes left in the second. Blackhawk hockey coming up. 2-2 the score here, just past the midpoint of period 2. The draw is taken by Morrow, surrounded by Kings, but still gets it deep into the LA zone. Morrow works the inboard. Jansen is centered. Galley steals that and clears it. And this one will be icing against Los Angeles.
Not taking any chances with this line. They've played very well, and Gary Galley was beaten earlier by Ethan Morrow. This time the puck comes right to him in front of the net. So he decides just to throw it down and probably get a little bit of a line change. They're obviously putting the new troops on. Matching up the hot line of Doug Gilmour, Chad Kilger, Ethan Morrow. Dominated.
Kilger with both Blackhawk goals. LA with goals from Audette and Duchesne. Face off to the right of Bissay. Gilmour won the draw. Manson near point, shoots one, tip, good save, rebound. Oh, what a stop by Bissay as Gilmour tried to jam that into the crease. If he does get it past the netminder into the blue area, Morrow's got to tap in.
The golden rule for a centerman is to stay with your centerman on a face-off loss. Doug Gilmour wins the draw and goes straight to the net, and he ends up being all alone. Manson feeds it through, and Gilmour there for the deflection and tries to whack it across to Morrow. It just does not get through. So great play by Gilmour, not a great play by the LA Kings centerman.
Another draw right to Bissett. He decides to play it in. The Kings able to work it out to center ice. Ferraro in over the Hawk line. Scooped it in behind the net. Gilmour over to Chelios on the near board. Ahead to Morrow. Ethan Morrow dumping it in. Doug Bodger put it around to O'Donnell. And now Ferraro with it. 3-on-3 to the Hawk line. Dropped it to nobody. Stolen away by Gilmour. Gilmour back into the King zone. Left it for Chelios. A long flip shot going wide. Gilmour chased it down. Left it in the corner for LaRue, whose pass is picked off in front of the net. Clear it to center. Robitaille cleared it over the Hawk line. Quick shot on net, but it deflected wide. And White picked it up. Todd White motoring back to center, dumping it in. Golick cleared it to the far board. Blake is on it for the Kings. And failed to get it out. LaRue on the far side. Scooped it in deep. Chased down by White. And the near point is Smolik. His long touch shot. Tip. Oh, that deflected just wide. Neat deflection by White, but it missed the target. Now Probert worked the board, tried to center. The Kings steal that, and Rob Blake will send it back into the Hawks zone. It was knocked down with a high stick. And now the whistle sounds.
The Hawks just a buzzing. Great skating through the neutral zone, but I like what they're doing in the offensive zone, moving their legs, not standing still and waiting for things to happen and develop. They're creating their own chances by their skating ability. Todd White waiting for Doug Smolik's slap shot from the boards, comes through, and you can really tell that the guys are starting to move to the net. That's definitely been talked about. And a great redirection, pardon me, by White, just missing the net. And Dave Manson coming up big with a solid body check against Ray Ferraro, the little guy who's usually scooting by players. Good stand-up play by Dave Manson on the defense.
Hawks buzzing, Billy. How about 34 minutes into the game? 26 shots on goal for Chicago. 2 have gone in. Here's the draw. Into the LA zone, didn't stay there long, and the shot back to center. Emerson jammed it loose, but Perreault got to it, bangs it deep into the Hawk end. Center pass, quick shot, and a good stick save made by Thibault. Rebound cleared back the other way. O'Donnell lost it to Emerson, to Amani, turning, centering, and the pass just out of the reach of Jamnok. And the Kings start away. Jokinen dumping it in, hoping for his winger Perreault to get to it. Jammed loose toward the slot. Now Perreault for LePerriere. The pass was behind him. And into the near corner it goes. Jokinen got it to the far side, but only Amani is there. And he flipped it back the other way. He'll take an icing call here for the Blackhawks.
First time in a long time, the Kings finally got a little emotion going in the offensive zone, keeping the play alive. The puck did not bounce in their way or for them. Good defense eventually. Tony Amani taking the whistle, throwing the puck down the icing because of the pressure by the LA Kings. Thrown in, the puck just ballooned off the glass, and from that face-off in the neutral zone, the Kings kept everything going, keeping the puck down low. Nice little play to Thibault. What a play by Jocelyn Thibault. Perreault is right there on the doorstep. If Thibault makes the save, it might just sit there. Perreault's got an easy whack into an empty net. But Thibault, realizing that, kicks the puck with his stick and pad and kicks it away from the oncoming Perreault, who really would have had an easy goal if the puck slides past Thibault.
Now the draw in the Hawk zone. Deflecting out to center. Barry Galley bouncing it in. Hansen bounced it out. Gilmour with it at center. Put it in over the line. Kilger on the far side, steaming in center. Just missing Morrow. Boy, this line has scored 2, and they've had quite a few very, very near misses. Siplikov the other way, fakes, walks in, shoots, and a good recovery by Chelios to make the block. And it's cleared to the line. Duchesne held it in. To the near corner, Siplikov moves behind now with a wraparound, and a save by Thibault at the far post. Siplikov into the corner with it. Centered one, here's a shot, and it was shot wide. It came to the near point, held in there by Duchesne, his long drive, Thibault the save, oh, and he gave no rebound, and Joseph Stumple, one of their better scores, was right there. Big stop by Thibault with no rebound, 2-2 your score. This is Blackhawk hockey.
Third, Steve Duchesne with a pretty good shot with a little bit of traffic, and Joseph Stumple right to the front. And gathering it in, nice save by Jocelyn Thibault.
And now a stick comes up and gets Chelios. The Hawks are going to get a power play right off a face-off as they were jousting for a loose puck. Chelios took one right around the chin, it looked like. But I don't believe he was cut, and the Hawks will have a 2-minute power play.
Well, he's going to be happy that it's the opposing player, because every time it's his own teammate through his career, he's gotten cut, and cut pretty bad. So this time being the Los Angeles King player, Donald Audette. Chelios had a little tougher skin and definitely a high sticking call. Only 2 minutes though. Big scar on Chelios' nose. Brian Muir earlier this year. Starting to fade a little bit, but he talked to me about a couple of nice other gashes he's had in his career, all done by his own teammates.
Draw on the Hawk power play. It's taken by Shamnov, who's at a point with Chelios. Kilger, Amati, and Gilmore in front. Here's Amati to center. And a dump it, hit a leg. Bounce back to the Hawk zone, and Chelios will set things up in behind the net. Chelios now with some room to center ice. Hammers it in there. Far board, Amati. Handed loose along the board. Chelios unable to hold it in. Kings with a 3-on-2. LaPerriere in over the line to Blake. He takes a look, centered. Good play by Chelios to block the pass. And Gilmore up with it. Now Gilmore to the King line. Lost it. And it's shot back to the neutral zone. Now Perreault in over the line. Trying to get away from Allison. Could not, or Shamnov, I should say. Shamnov then had it, but lost it. Here's a drive, and Perreault shot a one-timer wide. A minute to go on the Hawk power play, which so far hasn't been able to get into the King zone yet. This one dumped in, and it bounced loose. Here's a drive, and a save by Bisset on a rocket from Emerson, who I think has now at least 7 shots on goal in the game.
I think, though, if he was to realize that Todd White was flying to the middle and may have been able to get a pass from Nelson Emerson, he would have not shot, and the two of them discussing it now. Nelson Emerson is so quick to look and just release. The Blackhawks dump the puck in, first offensive threat on the power play, good force, and Emerson lets it go quickly, but Todd White went right through a couple of Kings and would have been available maybe for a redirect. Would have been a hard deflection to make, and the better option maybe just to shoot it.
The draw to O'Donnell, he clears. Late in period 2, the game is tied at 2, and the Hawks now with half a minute of power play time remaining. Emerson fires it in. O'Donnell got a bad hop out of the corner, but Morrow couldn't reach it. And the Kings do as Siplikov clears. Dave Manson with some room to center ice. Now carries it in over the line. Manson ran out of room along the board, shot it in behind the net. White there. Back to Manson along the boards. A long clip shot deflected right through the crease, and Emerson just barely missed tipping that one home. Now the King penalty over. Here's a 3-on-2 for LA. Over the line, Robitaille for Stumple right in. Shoot! Shot it wide. Joseph Stumple on a quick scoring chance. Missed the target. With both teams at full strength now. In the LA zone, Emerson had his pass deflect. Here's a long shot and a save by Bisset on the drive from Allison.
Good action at both ends. Out of the penalty box came Donald Audette, and that made it a 3-on-2 situation. And they just missed, and the Blackhawks turn around and go the other way. And Jamie Allison Gets the puck maybe off a little bit of a deflection. Wasn't really a pass, but he found himself all alone high in the slot. He let it rip, and there's a couple of bodies that puck has to get through, mainly a couple of Kings. To say well out and on his knees makes a good play. Jean-Yves Leroux parked it for the net, an excellent redirection, and just through the crease, Nelson Emerson coming from the left of Fiset right there. If that's out about a foot more, Nelson Emerson has a goal.
Both teams at full strength, and Chelios tees it up. Fire! Oh, fought off by Fiset. A rocket hit him up high in the shoulder, and he got just enough to keep it out of the net.
What a shot that was.
On the Hawk zone, Allison to Chelios. Jammed it along the boards, back the other way. Donald Audette to center ice. Danced away from one check. Carried it to the Hawk line. Was stopped there. Jammed on steals. And now we're to the final minute of the second period. Leroux dumping it in. Say ringing it around, not out, held in by Brown. Back to the goal to Olczyk. He tried to center, that deflects to the line. Brown tees up a long drive, and it's saved by Fiset. Rebound centered. Olczyk takes a look, shoots right through the crease it goes. Into the near side, Smolik. He cuts in behind the goal center, what a drive! And that one deflected right through the crease as well as Emerson triggered yet another. Into the near corner now. Olczyk knocking a man down, and Duchesne came away with it with 20 seconds left in the period. The Kings clear it to center ice.
The Hawks caught the Kings without a change, and the Blackhawks did change. They had fresh legs, and they had the LA Kings running all over the place. A couple of nifty plays.
Now Ferraro got to the line, lost it there. That'll do it for the second period.
The Blackhawks had a couple of good chances catching the tired LA Kings. Doug Smolik pinching in, keeps the puck all the way down low and right through the crease. Nelson Emerson maybe trying to find Ed Olczyk. I'm not sure, he may have been in the crease before the puck entered it, but a good little flurry at the end of the period for the Hawks.
And again, one goal each way in this session. Donald Audette scored for LA, assisted by Duchesne and Robitaille at 5-12. But then Chad Kilger from behind the net scored his second of the game and 10th of the season, assisted by Gilmore and Morrow at 9:21. Hawks had 15 shots on goal in the first. They did better in the second. 16 they had. The Kings had just 9. 31 total shots for Chicago and 22 for Los Angeles. Still anybody's ball game, and you have to be impressed with the perspiration you've seen so far tonight.
Yes, they better have deodorant on, but I'll tell you what, it's been good to see the great effort for the Blackhawks and the way they have skated. They've created plenty more chances than the LA Kings. If they were a bit more lucky, they'd have a few more goals, and they have to keep it up here for 20 minutes. And I like it because it's the game after a bad night in Anaheim.
Hawks trying to make amends, and they're in decent shape to do that after 40 minutes. The Kings and the Hawks are tied at 2. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
Is that you out there, Chad Kilger? Chad with a pair. Blackhawks 2, Kings 2, 40 minutes complete. Well, Wayne Gretzky was unavailable, so in tonight's Playboy profile, we'll talk with the Blackhawks Buford Buckster, also known as David Stensby, Hawk Manager of Team Services.
And now, Playboy presents another Blackhawk Power Profile. Today we go one-on-one with Team Services Manager David Stensby. Dave, what do you do?
The travel of the team, which involves flights, charter, commercial, also involves hotels, the meals, buses, tickets, so on and so forth.
What happens when the bus is late?
If the bus doesn't show up on time, then I get in a lot of trouble.
Were you a Blackhawks fan growing up?
Yeah, I grew up being a Hawk fan. Doug Wilson, old number 24, being my favorite player.
Now that you're grown up, who's your favorite Hawk?
Well, the person that I get along most with is probably Brian Muir. Brian is a big hunter, and I enjoy hunting too. So we have a lot to talk about some of the hunting experiences we've had.
Which Hawk's the biggest pain in the butt?
Alex Jamnoff's probably the biggest pain to me. I mean, he's a great guy, but he usually asks for more tickets than anybody on the team.
What nicknames does the team have for you that you can tell us?
Chris Chelios came up with the name of Buford Putzer from the movie Walking Tall. Super Dave, Super Dog, Dog. I don't know. Every once in a while they'll come up with a new one, but it usually doesn't stick. Usually the one that sticks is Super Dave.
Finally, what's your favorite meal?
My favorite meal is usually the team meal. You get a nice piece of chicken and some pasta and lots of soup.
My question would have been, what isn't your favorite meal? Make sure the beer's cold and the pizza's warm on the bus. That's his job. All right, we'll be back with highlights momentarily right here on Fox Sports Chicago. Davey, we hardly knew ye. Hawks 2, Kings 2. Son, Jeremy Roenick, the Phoenix Coyotes versus the Blackhawks. We'll tee it up at 2 o'clock. The game room warm-up begins at 1:30. All right, good buddy. Let's go back to period number 2 and pick it up with Audette, who gives the Kings a temporary 2-1 lead.
Yeah, it's another good period, but you'll see three Hawks collapsed low, down low. Donald Audette comes out of the corner. Nobody picks him up. You got to move to this guy quick. He's got a good shot. And this is a prime scoring range right from the face-off dot. I don't think Tebow really gets a good shot at it because Brian Muir or Jamie Allison is going out there. Great shot over the blocker.
Troy, you've never heard this before. Good things happen when you fire the puck at the net.
We talk about this all the time. You're throwing the puck to the net. Chad Kilger is not looking where anything's happening, but he's throwing into the crease. A deflection off his skate, off the goaltender, it's in, the score's tied.
Trying to bust a 4-game winless streak. Third period action coming up here on Fox Sports Chicago. We are locked at 2. Well, ZZ Top, number 1, Troy, and number 2, if there is a bright spot, Blackhawks right now are 14 games under the break-even, yet they're only 8 points back of San Jose.
Well, I mean, they're in the exact same position there when they started this road trip. They're 8 points back of San Jose going into tonight's game. Anything can happen. They win tonight, 2 points again. They're 38th. I mean, they're only 6 points back. Not bad. They're not out of the picture yet.
Final in this game, you heard it here first. Blackhawks 4, Kings 3. Right now, with 40 complete, Hawks 2, Kings 2, we are back post-haste.
To play Los Angeles Kings 2, Chicago Blackhawks 2, and Fox Sports Chicago is your home for over 30 Bulls games. Sunday, Tony Harp and the newest Bull, Brent Berry, take on the #1 draft pick, Michael Olowokandi, and the Los Angeles Clippers. It all starts in the game room with Norman Chet, Sunday at 7:30 on Fox Sports Chicago. And Raiders of the Lost Ark. No, it's Dit Butkus in attendance tonight here in Los Angeles. I'm sure rooting for the Chicago Blackhawks. Chad Kilger's had a great game with 2 goals. Blackhawks have had 12 hits, only 5 for the Los Angeles Kings, and the Kings have had 20 turnovers because of that great play by the Blackhawks and playing so physical.
As the draw is controlled by the Hawks, they dump it into the Los Angeles zone. Rob Blake swings it over to the far side. Robitaille able to bounce one out to center ice, and it deflects out of play.
Joseph Stumple has had a tough year with a number of injuries. Last year, Patty had 79 points, was in the top 10 in scoring, but this year he has 8 goals, 10 assists, and 18 points. And believe it or not, even for Joseph Stumple, in the last 10 games, he does not have an assist. And you would think the ice time he gets and being on the power play and the way he handles the puck, he would collect an assist somewhere down the road. Joseph Stumple just not getting back on track with the numerous injuries he's had this year.
There's the draw now. Right into the LA zone, and a little face-off at center ice as Kilger and Siplikov seem to be a little ornery with one another. And they're both going to get a chance to cool off about it.
Kilger's played a strong game. Playing very physical, as I mentioned, with the 2 goals. Tipikoff's played pretty well too, Pat. I've noticed him quite a bit, moving around the ice, having opportunities, and in 15 games, he doesn't have a goal. And they both came together at center ice, and a high stick by Tipikoff, and right back goes Kilger with the cross-check, so they're both off and have a little bit of a rest. Look at each other in the box.
Chad Kilger tonight, as you mentioned, with the 2 goals, the second time in his career he's ever had in a 2-goal game. And now we go with 4 skaters aside. Here's the draw. Controlled by the Kings. Robitaille bounced one ahead. Stumple couldn't pick it up as Chelios tied him up beautifully. And now Chris Chelios. Aired it out to center ice. Jamnov works his way to the line. Lost it there. Robitaille lays it to Blake. And now back to Robitaille, who steps in over the line. Lucky Luke put a pass behind Stumple. And Manson takes over for the Hawks. Dave Manson. That is pass nearly picked off. Brown following up. Now we'll dump it in.
And the Blackhawks had plenty of time. They went back to regroup. And they let the Los Angeles Kings make a full wholesale change. They had 4 new fresh bodies on the ice, and they just took their time coming out of their own zone. Dave Manson eventually just threw the puck up the middle. It was intercepted. And a situation like that, when you have a 4-on-4, when you see the other team change, and you try to move it up the ice as quickly as possible and catch them. That did not happen, and luckily the Los Angeles Kings did not accept that pass and move in and take a play, make a play. So all the Los Angeles Kings just turned away and said, I think we'll go for a change. Dave Manson circled the wagons behind the net, and 4 fresh bodies get on for LA, and Manson then throws the puck up the middle to the Kings.
Now the draw. Cleared out to center ice. Here come the Kings over the line. Audette moves it. Shoots. Shot block made by Brown. And now a penalty is going to be called as Brown hit the deck. Here's Emerson the other way. And out of room at the King line. And now the whistle sounds for the Los Angeles penalty.
A terrible play for Donald Audette behind Brad Brown. Out of the play, not even close to where the puck was, pulling Brown down from behind with a big hook. And Brown looked at Audette, did not retaliate. The power play for the Blackhawks will help this club at a 2-2 knot early in the 3rd period. A good defensive play. Brad Brown, Audette pulls up, takes a shot. It's blocked by Brown. Brown tries to jump up into the play, and he's pulled down from behind, so Audette will sit for a couple of minutes with that miscue. I think Brown thought he could join the rush and catch a player well behind and make it an odd man situation going up the ice. Audette had different ideas.
A 4-on-3 for the Hawks for 43 seconds to open up this power play. Face-off just outside the King zone. It's controlled by Gilmore. Gilmore on the far side, shifted in behind. Amonte's there, takes a look for Chelios, and the pass was way up off the ice.
Chisel.
Now deflecting away from Jamnov to center. Then Chelios steps back over the line. Left it for Amonte, but that didn't connect. And it's shot back the other way.
Boy, this is a 4-on-3. They got to take their time and open up the ice a little bit. A great situation for them, having plenty of ice to work with.
Amonte in over the line to the far side. Deep slot to Chelios. Walks in, fires, and a save by Fisset as he kicked it back all the way to the other end.
That was the first opportunity. A nice play. Chelios with a lot of room, let off the rocket that he does have. And just nicking Fisset with the puck going off the boards and all the way down to the Hawks' zone.
A minute to go now in the Hawk power play. It's a 5-on-4 advantage now. There's a pass from White, deflects back to center ice. And there's a giveaway there. Here come the Kings moving in. Blake a drive, hit the goal post. Rebound at the side of the goal. Now deflected to the line, held in by Siplikov. Put it in behind the net. And the Blackhawk power play has been atrocious.
This is the time you got to put the clamps down and get a goal and get them going. They played solid for 40 minutes, and what an opportunity they had. 4-on-3 especially. Now in the 5-on-4.
1 out of 4 so far tonight is the Hawk power play, and here's another giveaway to Courtnall, moving and shooting into the glove. But Tebow, hang on, Joss. Boy, oh boy, that's awful.
22 seconds remain in the power play. The only chance was Chelios' chance. And Jocelyn Tebow had to come up with a save, and Rob Blake had an opportunity with a chance and hit the side of the net. Russ Courtnall with his terrific speed, trying to use Ethan Morrow as a screen, and didn't get a lot of wood on the shot. Nice little glove save. But earlier, Shamrock with a giveaway. Rob Blake intercepted the pass, moved in, and let a rocket go. Hit the side of the post, just missing. They almost took advantage of a couple of sloppy plays by the Blackhawks.
Here's a draw now. Taken by Manson deep in his own end. Dave Manson has some room to center. Shooting it in. Morrow played the man so Emerson could play the puck. He jammed loose to Muir, who shoots. That sails through the slot to the near side. And the Kings recover and cleared to center. Oh, and it just missed Audette coming out of the box. So the Kings would have had a 2-on-1. Jerry Galley deep in his own end. With both teams now at full strength. Here's Galley out to center. It's taken by Ferraro, tapped it ahead. Here's a chance on down, a shot, and a save by Tebow. Donald Audette's been dangerous a lot tonight. He has another chance to tee it up there, but he's denied. It's early in the third. 2-2 your score. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
Welcome back. The LA Kings with a couple of flurries when they were shorthanded. The Blackhawks not being able to muster up anything really, and they had a great opportunity with a 4-on-3 for plenty of time. Didn't get a shot off.
Now a long drive. Tebow with a fine glove save on a rocket from Duchesne off the draw.
Steve Duchesne just walked into that. A good, clean face-off win. Right back to Duchesne. Boy, there's a lot of people that puck's got to get through. Not an easy save for Tebow. I'm not sure if it would have hit the net, but the big webbing of the glove came up, and a snappy little save.
Now the draw in the Hawk zone. Winds up at the near point. Galley. Lukin behind the goal. Then a centering pass. Broken up by Allison. Audette jammed it loose. To the far side. Meg Johnson hit hard along the boards. Was stopped right in his tracks there. Ferraro threw it into the near corner. Audette battling with Allison. Audette won the puck to Ferraro, and his shot sailed just outside the far post. And the Kings are back in offside. And then a big hit delivered by Brown, and on a King player, Johnson was trying to stay onside. And he wound up on his backside.
And little Ray Ferraro had quite an opportunity with a big low shot. What a play for him to realize the defense were out of the zone, and he took the place of the defenseman and got the good shot off. And Brad Brown, who we talked about in the pregame show, with a solid hit. He has done that probably 1 to 2 times consistently every game. Great speed, good timing, and never really taking himself out of position, making sure that the lanes are covered by the forwards coming back if he's going to step in.
5 minutes gone here in the third. 2-2 the score. The draw taken by Chelios. Bring it out to center. Here's Gilmore. He's forced to dump it in. It goes right to Nordstrom, who played it to his partner Blake. And now to center, Jokinen could not advance it. Gilger broke up that rush. Ziplikov unable to get away from Chelios now. Chelios hit hard on the near side by Jokinen, but made the play, clearing to center. Morrow with it, steps over the line, fires, and a shoulder save by Bissay, who fought that one off. And a centering pass from Kilger is slotted out of midair, Back to center ice.
Look at that high riser.
Well, Ethan Morrow's been terrific the last few games.
Well, they're getting a little bit of a reward, Pat, with playing with Doug Gilmour. A chance for them both to be effective with a good centerman.
Chelios and Manson couldn't get out of each other's way. Nearly cost a turnover, but now Amani comes up with it and dumps it in. O'Donnell moving around the boards. Cordnall got it to center, and Perreault stepping to the line, lost it there. Back into the LA zone it goes, and this one will be icing against Chicago. Well, Larry Robinson tonight, Billy, trying to break a tie for third place on the all-time win list for coaches in Los Angeles. He's tied with Bobby Berry for third, and the all-time leader for LA coaching victories with a total of 178 is the wily senior vice president of the Chicago Blackhawks, Bob Pulford, who's also on hand, entertaining Trent Yawney next to him.
That looks like a dandy conversation. I saw Foley right before the game, Pat, just underneath the stands, and Foley said, he doesn't say a lot, he said, this is where I used to sit and come before every game, and it's just by the Hawks dressing room, but it's underneath the stands, and there's other stands set up there for other events. He said he went there every game.
Now here's the draw. Deflecting toward the slot. Good coverage though by Zhamnov. He broke up the pass, and out comes Emerson. Bounced it ahead. Taken by Bodger. He cleared not out. Emerson though had it stripped away. The Kings a chance to count a 3-on-2 if they hurry. Robitaille over the line, drops it in front. Here's Stumble, a shot. Good save by Thibault. Joseph Stumble had a point-blank chance. Thibault slams the door.
Well, that's a pretty 3-on-2 for the LA Kings, but the prettiest play of the whole situation was Jocelyn Thibault at his mercy with Joseph Stumple, has 3 goals in his last 10 games. Bit of a miscue by the Blackhawks. Nelson Emerson at the blue line. The puck squirted loose. He worked really hard, but there's a third man that comes in, and the Blackhawks had 3 guys back, so they didn't read the situation properly. Emerson hustled back. So did Muir. Schmolik's at his mercy because it was a 2-on-1 situation from center ice, so he was caught back in front of Thibault. The play eventually went to Stumple, the right-hand shot right in the middle of the ice, and he lets one go, and what a blocker save by Jocelyn Thibault.
Now the draw to the Kings, a long drive from Duchesne, that just missed the near post, and then a penalty's going to be called. Diving to cover it was Thibault at the side of the goal, and Brad Brown, seeing if his ear is still in place. So it appears the Blackhawks may head back to the power play. 2-2 the count. This is Blackhawk hockey.
And the Blackhawks on their second consecutive power play here early, really in the third period. They are 1 for 5 and do have 10 shots on the power play, and another glorious chance for them to take the lead.
Here's the draw to the Kings. Quick shot. And Nordstrom's attempt deflecting up over the glass into the crowd.
The right-handed Joseph Stumple winning that face-off on the left-handed Doug Gilmour, and it's a lot easier, I think, for right-handers. And he cleanly won the draw back. A quick shot, and he will easily stick it into the crowd.
And now the draw. Taken by Manson behind the net. Here comes Gilmour with it now to center. Gilmour works his way in over the line. Ooh, he tried to beat Amani, but a fine breakup of the pass. Rob Blake, a big play, or Amani was in. And it's shot back to the Hog zone. Out comes Manson. Just dumped into LA ice. Cordnall bounced it not out. Manson to Chelios at the near point. Beat slot to Manson. His long range shot. Oh, it's deflected just by rebound. Oh, Gilmour in an open side, but couldn't control the bouncing puck. Back to the goal. The Kings come away and clear.
Well, that's happened at both ends a couple of times for each club. They've had a chance maybe at an open net, and the puck just has not sat down. Good play from the point to get the puck through, and Gilmour right there.
Chelios losing the handle now. It bounces around finally to center, where White was hit hard, and oh boy, he hurt his left leg. It probably was a Charlie horse. I hope that's what it was rather than a knee injury. It looked like he went knee to knee with a King player.
Great to see that.
White quickly went right off to the Hawk bench as the Kings O'Donnell breaks up yet another Hawk foray. Cleared it ahead. And Perreault couldn't pull the trigger. Now Stumple looking to steal one. He's hit hard though by Muir. And it rolled loose to the King. Well, here's another Hawk power play, Billy, in this period that does nothing.
Well, it's hard to believe they do have 10 shots because the last couple in this third period they have done absolutely nothing with the puck. Really having a tough time getting it into the zone.
And the penalty over now. Both teams are at full strength. The puck is cleared to center ice. Chelios there.
What are the odds that the next penalty goes against the Blackhawks?
I just think to see if there's another penalty in this game, it's going to be to Chicago. Now at the line, here's Manson with a long flip shot that sails up high. Bouncing to the near side, Craig Johnson looking to clear, and finally gets help to trickle it to center ice. Now Chelios puts it into the King zone, but the short of center, and icing is coming up against Chicago.
On the power play, they did have one lean chance. And there's a little talking going on. Chelios with a couple of whacks on, looked like Sipakov and then maybe Jokinen. A lot of players on the ice for Los Angeles. I think the Kings have a fresh 5 players on the ice, and the Hawks still have only their 5. I think nothing will happen out of this. Nordstrom, also I think the recipient of a Chelios swat to the head. Nordstrom losing his helmet. The new do on. And Manson did start the only chance that the Blackhawks did have on the power play, and he did miss the net with the shot. Chelios taking the puck and moving it over to the middle of the ice. A wrist shot by Manson. Deflected. Boy, nice deflection by Morrow. Hits the backboards. Comes right out to the front, and Gilmer just misses it as it hops over his stick. And Russ Courtnall with the big knee. And that really may have and should have been a penalty, because there's no doubt with White getting hit around the thigh area, that knee came out on purpose by Courtnall, and that was not a call. Dangerous play.
We're now halfway through the third period. The Kings and the Hawks are tied at 2. And Billy, the Hawks in this third period have had 2 full power plays. They've had a total of 2 shots on goal in the first 10 minutes of play.
Hard to believe after the first 40.
Yeah, that's right. Here's the draw. Galley now with a long shot. Didn't get through the traffic. Hanson without a stick gloves it up the boards. And here comes Probert dumping it in. Duchesne to the right side on deck. Sending Ferraro to center. Ray Ferraro in over the line on Manson. Gets around and cuts in there, but couldn't get to the front of the net. And Manson had a stick come up and clip him, but play on. And here's a giveaway. Duchesne sent an open net. They score. Oh, another giveaway by the Blackhawks. And it's 3-2 LA.
This play develops behind the Blackhawks net, and it looks like there's a chance for a good pass if it gets through for the Hawks to be on a breakaway. But it is intercepted by Steve Duchesne as the Kings first come into the zone of the Blackhawks, and good coverage by the Blackhawks. Chelios gets the puck and has it down deep, and he's looking right up the middle as the Blackhawks streaking Ed Olchuk way up high, but it's intercepted by Duchesne. He makes a fine pass. And a great play by Donald Audette on the back end, going around a sprawling Jocelyn Thibault. So you take a chance on the long one, and Steve Duchesne read that very well and jumped in.
Donald Audette's second goal of the game. And 8th of the year in 19 games for the Kings. Audette from Duchesne at 10:21. And the Hawks now trail by 3-2. Now we're going to have a penalty coming up against guess who? Chicago. As As we told you, the next penalty of the game would go to the Hawks. Indeed, it does. And it's a high sticking call here.
Well, they had their chances early. The game is far from over. 9 minutes and 10 seconds remaining here in the third, but Brad Brown will be whistled off for the high stick, and a chance for LA to pad their lead. But boy, did they have their chances early in this third, and if they look back, this comes down to the power play not being effective like it really has been the majority of the time this year. And we were absolutely correct on the call that we felt that Brad Brown, pardon me, the Blackhawks, Brad Brown is taking the penalty, but the Blackhawks would get the next penalty, and Brown in front of his net gets the stick up a little high. And not much of a penalty, but the LA King player winced like it was more of a spear. So it will be a high stick on Brown, who questioned the call and probably should have.
So a big opportunity for the Kings to get some breathing room here. They lead 3-2 and have a power play. Here's the draw to Manson. He clears it. To the Hawk line. Lifted ahead. Manson gloved it, pulled it into his equipment. He got lucky there. As the whistle sounds, I've seen that in other scenarios be called a penalty.
Especially in your own zone now, when you're able to play it with your hand and play it to a partner or a teammate. They want you to play it as much as possible, and Manson corralled that into the glove almost as if he had a goalie's glove on and held onto it, bringing it into his chest. Yes, with the call already and Brad Brown in the box, they were a little bit lenient.
The draw to the Kings. Duchesne at the near point. Now to the deep slot. Blake's touch pass broken up by White, trying to chase for it. He managed to muscle it back to center, and it's underneath both White and Blake, and the whistle sounds.
That's a good play for Todd White, and it's good to see him back on the ice and skating around. Thought that he may have had a serious injury, but a fine defensive play with his stick, and Todd White has had a pretty successful run with the Blackhawks. 4 goals, 7 assists, and 11 points.
The King power play. And here's the draw to Chelios. Couldn't get it out. It winds up in the near corner. Chased down by Amati. And he bounced it back to the LA end. Now a steal made by Jamnoff away from Stumple. Jamnoff centered. That's broken up on a drag move by Rob Blake, who stuck the left leg back down to the ice, broke up the pad.
You were going to say he changed his clothes. In drag.
We are in L.A. I don't think he'd be the only one in the rink that did that.
Tony Amati throwing the puck as it rolled into the crowd, but a good chance for Alex Jamnoff. Trying to get the puck in a better play by Rob Blake. And how about Nelson Emerson tonight? The most shots on the road.
No shots, period.
Period. 12 for Doug Wilson in 1983 and 12 for Grant Mulvey in 1980. And tonight, Nelson Emerson has 10 through 2 periods. He has not had a shot in the third period. We're 12 minutes in, so first couple. That is overall. I thought it was on the road, but overall, wow.
Yeah, in any game, 12 shots is the record. Here, though, come the Kings with a power play. Rosa, an extra move at the line, forcing the offside whistle. Speaking of how folks dress at times in this neck of the woods, one year the Hawks were here on a road trip early in the season, and you haven't seen anything till you've been in L.A. on Halloween. Oh, brother. That was something. Every time you turned around, you saw a rather unusual sight, one form or another. Oh, here's the dump in. The Tebow handles. Muir hacked it off the boards and out to center ice. Now here come the Kings back over the line. Bodger put it to the near side. Ferraro centered. Rosa shot it wide. Rebound by Galley to Rosa behind the net. Checked by Muir, but Rosa held the puck. Now on the far point, it's Galley holding it in. Galley in the deep slot. Takes a look, then flips it through some traffic over to the far side. Ferraro got it loose. Here's a chance. Rosa center. Galley right in. He shot it wide. Wanted a pass by Rosa, but Galley missed the net. Now in the air at the far point. Bodger held it, and Hawk penalty over. Centering pass Rosa, and he couldn't kick it to the stick. And the Hawks, having just killed a penalty, now at equal strength, will take an icing call. We have 7 minutes remaining in the third period. It's Los Angeles 3, Chicago 2. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey. Pat Foley with Billy Gardner in Los Angeles, 3-2 in favor of the Kings. LA with just 1 victory in their last 7 games and 2 wins in 10 starts. Here's a center pass. Big save by Thibault. A neat redirection right on the doorstep in front of the Hawk net. And Thibault keeping his team in it here in the third.
Russ Courtnall quickly realizing Los Angeles Kings. Johnson driving to the net, and just a nifty little play. Brad Brown right on the back of the King, and the redirection was there. Thibault had to be sharp. And the redirection right into Jocelyn Thibault. He actually did look behind him to see where the puck was. Probably didn't feel it.
Now the draw to Blake. Tees up along glass. Thibault the stick save. Rebound to Chelios. Here's Chelios, weaves to center, shooting it in. Moves around to the near side. As they wrestle in the corner, Kings come away with it, clearing to center ice. Ethan Morrow back over the line, but Gilmore way offside of the play. Then Nordstrom gave Morrow a jolt way after the whistle, and they'll be gathering about that.
Nordstrom taking Morrow out, and a little emotion shown by Morrow. Chad Kilger jumped right in to help his teammate. Will come, but I'm not sure if there'll be any penalties. No gloves dropped, a couple of sticks, that's about it. The Blackhawks have 6 minutes and 6 seconds left to at least tie the game with 1. And I'll tell you, after watching 2 periods of the way they played, they had that desperation, they had the excitement going, and they had a couple of power plays early in the third, and that, I think, took them out of the game. They relaxed a little bit and played nonchalant. They just haven't played with the same drive as they did for 40 minutes. This is an offside play. Ethan Morrow coming over, Kilger ahead of him, and Nordstrom about 15 feet in still took Morrow out of the play. Late hit.
Big shot into Los Angeles ice, Duchesne. Tipping it around the boards. Ole Jokinen. It's helped to dump it in. Brown to the far side, LaRue. LaRue got it to center. Bounce there to Brown. His pass didn't connect. And the Kings try to start back. Stumple's feed broken up by a back-checking White. Now deep in the Hog zone is Muir. Open to the near board, Probert. Probert's pass at the feet of Emerson. Deflecting. Randolph had to wait because Emerson would have been offside. And the Hawks forced to dump it ahead. Doug Bodger will scoop it back the length of the ice. The race is on. This one will be icing against Los Angeles.
It's time to put a little pressure on the Blackhawks, trying to get back into their rhythm. And boy, have they not been the same for 40 minutes. And in fact, it's funny how I was looking up today about Jocelyn Thibault and the goal support he has had in the 27 games. This is now his 28th game. When the Hawks score 2 or less goals, he's only won 1 game. He's lost 14 and tied 2. When they score 3 goals or more, he's 8-1-1. So that stat probably is similar to a lot of teams, but it just goes to prove you got to get to that 3 to be effective and win some games.
Well, but what you're saying, though, Billy, here's 17 games out of 27, they scored 2 goals or less. I mean, you know, any goaltender is going to have a poor record when that's the case. The Blackhawks, in fact, coming into this game in their last 23 starts, how many times do you think they've scored more than 2 goals? 6 out of 23. The record speaks when they do. Here's Emerson. Getting locked up on the far side. Manson long clips up to say sticks it away. Now bouncing back of the LA net. O'Donnell ringing it around the board. And the Kings able to clear it back to Chicago ice. Dave Manson looking to wind it up. Carries it back in over the King line, and offside is the call. We're down near the 4-minute mark remaining in the third. LA 3, Chicago 2. This is Chicago Blackhawks. Here's the draw now, taken by Brian Muir at his own line. Bounced it ahead. Morrow steps in there to the far corner. His pass deflecting around the board. Gilmore threw it in deep. Morrow back of the goal. Fought off a hit to the near corner. And then finally ran out of time as Perreault knocked it away. Here come the Kings out. Horton all over the Hawk line. Dropped it. Here's a long shot. And a save by Thibault on Blake. Rebound control by Doug Gilmore. He fires it in. And the Kings, Luke Robitaille. Got it to the center ice area. Bouncing there to Perreault. Steps into the Hawk zone, and Manson just forced him to delay enough that the play was offside. Luke Robitaille with 505 career goals, ranking 25th on the all-time goal-scoring list. And he was the 12th fastest to get to the magic 500 mark. He's never been able to score anywhere else the way he's been able to score here in LA.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. He just loves playing here. But you know what? His teammates gave him a big screen TV for scoring 500 goals. Shouldn't he be giving something to his teammates for the 500 goals? Well, you know what? He did. He gave every one of them a bottle of wine. He gave every one of them a bottle of 1990 Dom Perignon. Every teammate, he said the big screen TV was so big he had to knock out a wall in his home.
We're down to 3 minutes left in the third. The Hawks need another goal, trailing 3-2. The Kings now move in, though Stumple centered. It goes to the far side. And Rosa left it back to Johnson trying to stop it home. Thibault denies. Rebound. Oh, Thibault bounced off the ice. What a save on Stumple. Jocelyn Thibault was down. The puck came free out of the pile, and Stumple had the hoister unloaded. And Thibault bounced up off his knees to make a body save.
He had to be definitely sharp on the initial Craig Johnson play. Rosa with a puck. 2 guys on him, and Johnson tries to stuff the puck. He's got 3 guys in red uniforms on him, and Stumple comes out of nowhere and collects the rebound and tries to go upstairs, and Thibault shifting around the bodies to his left up against the left post. Makes a pretty good save. As Pat mentioned, he was down looking and watching and then saw the shot coming. Pounced up high, made the save off his shoulder and held on.
Now the draw in the Hog zone. Siplikov works the corner boards, came up with it. Siplikov spins on Jamnoff, works behind the net. Rolled it near point. Here's Bodrick shot. Fought off by Thibault. Rebound control by Brown. He got it to center and Amani, who dumps it in. Back to the goal it goes. Amani's there. Moss in front. Shoots. Got it right through the crease. Deflecting to the far point, and Brown shoots it in deep. Amani back of the net. Tried to center. That didn't get through. Amani once more with it. Walks out in the backhand. Shoots. What a toe save made by Bissett as it's cleared back to the Hawk line.
Amani fighting through, and great kicks in front of the net by the other Blackhawks, standing there and taking away a couple of defensemen, giving Amani some time.
Gilmore's pass deflecting. Picked up by Jokinen in over the Hawk line. Centered one. LaPerriere shot. Never got through. Now it does. And a save by Thibault. And he covers it up.
I think that was a... Donald Audette has been all over the ice. What an acquisition he has been. For this team, Pat, you mentioned his numbers. In the first 11 games, he had points in 8 of them, and the record was 7-0-1 in those 8 games. He's been tremendous for them. Small in size, but boy, can he move. And the play was broken up, but good continuance of the play by Adet, following up on the miscue and getting the backhand shot. Thibault with the splits, making a right pad save. And at the other end, the Blackhawks did have a pair of chances themselves. Tony Amani in front of the net trying to stump a couple.
Well, Billy, the Hawks have had 2 power plays in this period. The Kings have had 1. And LA has 14 shots on goal. The Blackhawks have 2. It's almost as if Chicago ran out of gas.
Well, that definitely, no excuses whatsoever. And they may be a little bit tired, but the inspiration they had for 40 minutes and the way they played, the number of shots they put up, the scoring chances they had, I don't think you can go in the dressing room and just lose that. I think, to be honest with you, when they got a couple of power plays, it took a lot of players out of the game, and they relaxed, thinking maybe it was going to be easy. And the LA Kings did a great job defending the couple of power plays, and the tide turned, and the momentum did swing. And I was talking about Tony Amani with his couple of chances. The puck way up in the air, uses his glove, pulls it down, and a pick by Nelson Emerson on Sean O'Donnell. And Amani has a little bit of room, gets the puck to the net to save with a save. And boy, right in front was Jamnoff. He just couldn't get the stick in the ice to find the trigger and find the puck. A couple of chances for Amani on 2 different wraparounds. He hung in there, and Jamnoff and Emerson doing their job, standing right in the crease, taking care of a couple of Kings. Well, they have not been lucky, and as you mentioned, only 2 shots. And I really thought they played solid, maybe the best hockey since early in Edmonton. 40 minutes, but what a difference in this 20.
Hawks using their timeout here with 1.5 minutes left in regulation. Trying to find a way to force extra time here in the Great Western Forum as Dennis Savard was doing the talking in that huddle. And with a draw in the King zone for the moment, Jocelyn Thibault will remain in the game.
We have 1.5 minutes, and this is a pretty good opportunity with them, as you mentioned, the face-off to the left of Fassé. Whether or not to take Thibault off, maybe a little bit too early, but you never know if you're going to get another chance on the offense with a draw in the zone of the LA Kings.
Now they're ready, and here's the face-off to the near point. Kalios goes rink wide with it, but put it outside the line. Hanson will have to regroup, and a lead pass for Morrow in over the King line. Spins on the near board. Ethan Morrow got knocked down. They wrestle for it along the boards. Amani won the puck. Centered on the puck. The pass at the feet of Gilmore escapes him, and it's shot to center ice. It's cleared ahead. That one was controlled by the Kings. And then shot back into the Hawk zone. It's deflected apparently, so no icing here as we're into the final minute. Here's a steal by Perreault. Perreault in the Hawk zone. Flipped one toward the net. Thibault gloves and thoughts of playing it, but he'll hang on.
Now the faceoff now will be in the Hawk zone, and just as I mentioned, with 1:29, the decision has to be made whether you're going to get another chance at a faceoff in the offensive zone. Thibault did want to move the puck, but a couple of Blackhawks, Manson and Chelios, standing right beside him. You got to give him a little bit of an option, give him a little room so he can maybe move it up and at least put the puck in the ice so he can move it with his stick to get things moving up the ice. LA had at least one player down behind below the net, so they had a chance maybe to go up the ice on a rush, an odd man situation, plus get Thibault out of the net.
Face off to the left to Thibault. 44 ticks to go. Here's the draw. 3-2 LA. Lake far point shoots one. He shot it wide. Picked up by Emerson. The pass is picked off. And Blake will clear it to center ice. Half a minute left in regulation. Chelios rolled it ahead. Hawks dump it in. There goes Thibault. 6 attackers on for Chicago. At the near point, Chelios scooped it up the board. White in the corner. Centered one. Hit the side of the net. Deflecting to Nordstrom. Hammers it up the boards and out. As it bounced away from Chelios. 10 seconds to go. Manson back into his own end. Goes up the middle of Monty. Got it to White. Fires a long one. Fassé stopped at 2 seconds. Amani hauled down. have won it. So the Los Angeles Kings, who had been 1-6 in their previous 7 games, knock off the Blackhawks here tonight. And the winning goal in the 3rd period on a Blackhawk turnover made by the captain, Chris Chelios. He went for the home run ball. It was picked off and wound up in the Chicago net. Donald Audette scored it from Duchesne, who made the steal at the 10:21 mark. Shots on goal in the 3rd, 11 for Los Angeles. Hawks credited eventually with 6 shots in the 3rd, 37 for the game, and the Kings with 33 shots. And the big play in the deciding goal of the game, Billy, halfway through the 3rd.
And Olchuk had a break, and he thought he did have a break. He took off after the Blackhawks were able to gain control down low behind the net. And Chelios saw Olchuk, tried to go up the middle, and what a play and what a read by Steve Duchesne. A fine feed to Donald Audette, and a nice, pretty move on the backhand by Audette, getting Thibault to go down and then roof it into the empty net. And it was a chance you take. If it goes through, Olchuk's gone. It went the other way, and it was a bad situation, a bad call.
So the Los Angeles Kings now have beaten the Blackhawks in 7 straight games, 3 in a row this year, and the Hawks have scored 10 goals in 4 games, or I should say 3 games against Los Angeles so far this season, while allowing 27 goals against. Your final score from the Great Western Forum tonight: Los Angeles 3, Chicago 2. Well, Billy, I think you hit the nail on the head. The key point in this hockey game occurred after the Hawks played very strong for 2 periods. They were extremely enthusiastic, but they get 2 power plays in the first half of the 3rd period, and they were both rotten, and that's really what seemed to turn the game around.
Well, they only, I think, had 1 shot, or were credited with 1 shot during that span, and they had a 4-on-3 situation with all that ice and the talent level that they do have. 4 power plays, especially in a situation like that, and they just didn't get anything done. And I really think it took them out of the way they had played in their thought plan. For 40 minutes, they forechecked well, they skated well, they won the battles, and they had a lot of opportunities. They got 2 power plays back-to-back. Some guys didn't play as much then, and they never got back into sync, and that really hurt them. And then the bad decisions really down in their own zone a couple of times, giving LA some chances, and then eventually the final goal.
The power play tonight, 1 out of 6, and on this road trip, 3 goals in 23 chances. And here's a team that has a drought in the scoring department, and it's really been carried on for a couple of seasons now. That special team, as we've talked about all year long, can do so much to help you, but more often than not, it seems to be hurtful to the Chicago cause. And in terms of this game, certainly momentum swung right then.
Well, I have to say, I like penalty killing, and I like guys that work hard. And if you outwork an offensive team that has a power play, I think the situation for the team that kills it off is much, much better. I think it's an uplifting experience for everyone on the bench to see the effort. And the fact of the matter is, I believe in a power play, you have to work hard, and you have to make it a situation where you deserve to be on a power play. And I don't think tonight the effort was there overall, and it has been that way for many games now, Pat. And if you're not going to perform on the power play and score some goals and work hard, you're not going to get the chances and the situations, and that occurred really in the power plays we saw tonight.
Hawks are 1-4-1 on this road trip now, and in the 6 games, as we said, 3 power play goals. So one of them did occur tonight, and young Chad Kilger able to dent the net.
Well, Kilger did have a great game. Ethan Morrow and Doug Gilmour, they were sandwiched on the outsides, and a bad play by Russ Courtnall and a nice play by Todd White to Chad Kilger. So they really didn't get things going so much on the power play. It was a breakdown by LA in the neutral zone, and Kilger got the good shot off. A little bit later on, Steve Duchesne, a good play. Pavel Rosa battling for the puck. Duchesne getting the puck and wristing one through. The redirection right in front. It was maybe off a hot player, but Steve Duchesne was just a quick wrist shot and a good play, a good flurry in front of Thibault, and he didn't see the puck coming. Luc Robitaille, a little bit later on in the 2nd period, had a couple of shots at the net. Thibault kept the puck away from him. The puck eventually went to Duchesne. He's so good at the point, especially on the power play, but he sees the ice well. He got it low, and Donald Audette came out of the corner, no one around him, and just let one rip top shelf. A beautiful goal, and Donald Audette was pretty special tonight. He's been a great acquisition for the team. But Chad Kilger, never say never. He came right back. Doug Gilmour, solid forecheck, with Ethan Morrow. They worked very hard behind the net. Morrow went to the front. Kilger took the puck to the left. It just flung it to the front, and it was a lucky break for the Blackhawks, but well-deserved, and he threw it right to the front and got a goal on.
So the Blackhawks now really up against it. This was a very important road trip, and up until now on this trip, the first 6 games of it, playing against Western Conference teams, all of whom are right in the same neighborhood as the Blackhawks. They not only couldn't gain any ground, they lost ground. And so now you've still got a lot of season remaining, but you've got to be pretty close to perfect the rest of the way.
When I look at road trips throughout the years, I think you look at teams that have been successful for the Blackhawk organization, they at least have one very good road trip, and they come out maybe with 5 wins out of 7 games or 4 out of 6, and that hasn't happened for the Blackhawks this year. And this definitely was a stepping stone, maybe in the right direction if they were put something together, because it's so close. There's so many teams from about 7 on through, and if you put a string of wins together, you can move by some people. It's a long road trip. They're going to go home. They're going to have some home games coming up, and it would have been a good situation for them to be in. It didn't occur. They still have Phoenix on Saturday, but they really have to collect themselves if they're going to get back in the hunt.
And as we mentioned, now in the last 24 games, the Hawks have scored more than 2 goals 6 times. So it's been a song we've been singing here for a couple of years, and it's well 2.5 years at least. The Hawks at the offensive end have really been having trouble finishing, and it's been very, very costly. Southwest save of the game is our last piece of business.
Jocelyn Thibault was a 3-on-2 situation. Luke Robitaille, a fine play to the middle of the ice, and Stumple moving in, and Smollett goes down, but he actually overtakes and slides by Jocelyn Thibault. Thibault was left alone, and what a save he made with the right arm. A good block, and it was a good play. Hawks really hustled to get back, but they really didn't read the situation. Stumple came in and let go of a shot, and a pretty good save there for Jocelyn Thibault.
So one more game on this 7-game swing for the Blackhawks, and the Hawks will play the toughest team they're going to face on this trip. The Phoenix Coyotes will be there on Saturday, a 2 o'clock start time for that one from Phoenix. Your final score tonight from Los Angeles, the Kings 3, the Blackhawks 2.